Take a moment when they individually feel overwhelmed in their role as a child caregiver. We all here at UMC are mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles of young children. And we know that raising children is a 24/7, 365 enterprise. And that these stresses can make each and every one of us, no matter how strong, have points of weakness. We ask you to pause during those times and step away so that you don't become embroiled in a situation that could lead to a child death.
When we come back, we'll head inside the OR for an up-close look at the Da Vinci robot. That's coming up on UMC Digest next.
You never know when you can't really see coming. And sometimes you just can't avoid the old. Life is full of surprises. So when life pulls up, get to UMC Quick Care. For life's bumps and breaks, sneezes and wheezes, one of our Valley locations is ready and waiting to save the day. So you can get in, get out, get better, quick. UMC Quick Care.
Mom, we're out of cereal. Can I go to Jennifer's tonight? No, you said you were going to take me to dance.
There's no time for downtime. Better get better, quick. UMC Quick Care has 8 locations, and you never need an appointment. So get in and get better. UMC Quick Care.
Mom!
Welcome back to UMC Digest. UMC is home to the most advanced surgical technology with robotic surgery that allows for faster recoveries and better outcomes. Now UMC is one of the only places in the West to offer robotic surgery for children. This is the Da Vinci robot, capable of performing surgical procedures at the hands of a skilled surgeon actually sitting steps away from the patient.
One of the nice things is when you put your head into the console is actually when the robot gets activated. So if I'm out here talking, the robot's not going to do anything, even if my hands are here.
And when a surgeon is at the helm, surgical procedures can be done with shorter hospitalizations, less pain, and less pain medication for adult and pediatric patients alike.
The Da Vinci system translates the surgeon's hands at the console to very precise and fine movements on the patient. And by doing so, that decreases the tremor, decreases any abnormal manipulation, kind of increases the efficiency of a surgery.
Which all leads to decreased complications.
So we're to less bleeding, less inadvertent injuries to other structures, the ability to do more complex surgeries with the robot in more precise fashion.
Removing pancreatic and lung masses and kidney transplants can all be done robotically.
Compared to open surgery, there's no comparison. Open surgery, you have big scars.
And UMC is one of the only hospitals offering this caliber of surgical care for younger patients. 2 local Las Vegas families have gone above and beyond, donating so generously to Children's Hospital of Nevada at UMC. Jerry and Jenny Shear know too well what it's like to have premature babies in the neonatal intensive care unit, and it was important for them to give back. Over the past 2 years, Jerry and Jenny Shear have donated more than $500,000 to Children's Hospital of Nevada at UMC. Part of that donation was used to buy state-of-the-art incubators called giraffes for our tiniest patients. The critical care beds support healthy neonatal growth while protecting neurodevelopment.
This is really used for resuscitation, so it's all integrated in one. You don't have to have any extra equipment.
That very kind donation helped us to purchase 3 of the giraffe care stations.
You see now that they have state-of-the-art equipment to help care for children in the NICU, in the emergency room. It really does our heart good to know that other parents are going to have the best opportunity to see that positive outcome for their own children.
In addition to that equipment, another donation from the Shear Family Foundation helped buy infant car seats for our babies going home for the first time and treated our patients, families, and staff to a big holiday celebration.
My wife Jenny and I could not be happier to see this equipment here at Children's Hospital at UMC being put to good use. The team here is so amazing. The doctors, the nurses, the entire staff, the outcomes that they have with the children is just excellent.
Since then, the Shears have donated several $100,000 more to providing more innovative equipment and recently donated the funds to create an important video message about child abuse prevention.
I'm glad to see it, but thank you so much because we've been wanting new stuff for our hospital for so long. We provide excellent care here, but we were somehow not having the funding to be able to get the latest and do the best for our children in Nevada. And with you guys coming on board and becoming our partners, it has really helped us a lot.
Today is a very happy day for us, but it's a happier day for the hospital and the Las Vegas Valley, and that's what's important to us.
The sheer family donation is entirely appreciated by UMC staff and our patients and their families who benefit from your generosity. Thank you. Children's Hospital of Nevada at UMC hosts a stuffed animal clinic at local schools to help give children an inside and very fun look into the world of healthcare. Take a look at how Jeffrey the giraffe became our patient and how these students might become the next generation of doctors and nurses.
Can you hear that? Yeah? Now let's listen to your giraffe's heart. Do you hear that? Does he sound okay? All right, you're my expert.
A first look inside healthcare for these students is a bit less intimidating thanks to Children's Hospital of Nevada's team who takes the stuffed animal clinic on the road.
So we get the penny, we put it in a bag, and we send it to the lab. All right? So now he's fine. He's good to go.
In this particular case, Jeffrey has swallowed a penny, which sends him to the hospital. Then all is well. Well, until he snaps his giraffe limb.
So I took the picture. Now we come over here and that sends it to my computer so we get to look it up. And let's see if it's really broken. What do you think? Where's the break? Yep, that's it. That's a broken leg, all right.
No worries though, Jeffrey gets a quick cast and he's on his way.
Probably feels better now, huh? There's that, and then you're gonna go over to the pharmacy.
Toys R Us generously donated the giraffes for our clinic, and this little guy sure seems to get into a lot of mischief.
He was really hungry, and his mother accidentally put a penny in his dinner plate, and he accidentally swallowed it, and now he needs to go to the hospital.
We're hoping to introduce the kids in their own little atmosphere to the healthcare. So they'll be going through different departments, for instance, triage, respiratory, radiology, to kind of get them the feel of what a hospital visit would be like. And at the same time, these kids are our future. So hopefully we could get them into our healthcare and get them into being future nurses, doctors, respiratory therapists.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of UMC Digest. For more information on all of the stories you've watched, please head to our websites. We have two of them, umcsn.com and children'shospitalofnevada.org. You can also find us on social media. We'll see you next time right here on Clark County Television. Until then, take care.
Welcome to Club Ride. Club Ride is the free employee benefits program that encourages and rewards the employees that would like to or currently carpooling, walking, biking, taking transit, or even motorcycling to and from work.
Club Ride has excellent programs and services for commuters,
such as Guaranteed Ride Home, Club Ride Discounts, Easy Rider, and the monthly price drawings.
Club Ride Rewards is a program that rewards commuters every month for clean green commutes to and from work. As a Club Ride member, you can win cash and prizes every month. It's a great thing.
Oh, we love winning the awards. We've been carpooling over 11 years now.
We were doing it before it was the thing to do.
I think I'm the better driver.
No, I'm the better driver.
Carpooling was just kind of a natural thing. We could ride to work, we could talk to one another on our way, and saved us time and gas. But that extra prize makes it extra fun.
I was carpooling before it was cool. And before we got the Rockstar parking for carpooling. Club Ride has this really cool website. You go in and you log your trips each week, and it calculates for you how much money you've saved, how much of an impact you've had on the environment in terms of less emissions and so on. So I know for a fact I've saved $300 each year carpooling.
After 20 years of driving in Las Vegas traffic, I think I'd had enough and I was ready for a change. I currently commute by taking the new transit buses. There's a new park and ride in my neighborhood, so I just drive over there and hop on the bus.
I commute with this bad boy right here. My employer not only supports it, she lets me park my bicycle right in my closet at work. I love the Club Ride discount program because I get to use it at Jason's Deli, Cold Stone Creamery, and then I'm even able to use it at my bike shop, Bicycle World. I wish I would have learned about it earlier.
One of the great benefits for employers is the outreach that we do. We set up a table, we give away free t-shirts, we talk to them, we educate them about the program, and then of course the incentives that are available to them. Once employers realize what we do for them, they love it.
Club Ride is extremely successful at Bellagio. We've been a partner with Club Ride since 1999, and currently we have about 1,200 employees enrolled. We provide our employees with reserved parking, bike racks, motorcycle area, as well as pre-tax payroll deduction for the passes.
I think the Club Ride program is very well thought out, very well engineered. Cox is really committed to being a Club Ride partner. We have swipe machines at every entrance where employees can log their commutes. We also have bicycle racks. We have the ability for employees to work compressed work weeks and flexible schedules. And we have pool vehicles that are available for those employees that commute who need a vehicle to use to visit a customer or to go to another office.
Having a strong commute options program is really important to the city of Henderson. Currently, we have over 400 of our employees that are enrolled in the Club Ride program. We have lots of prize winners every month, and I really make a big deal about it. I hand deliver all the prizes. They're just really excited, especially if one of the other employees sees that they're getting this prize. That kind of motivates them and they want to be part of that.
I'm Joan with Cox Communications. I'm proud to be a carpooler, and I think you should be too.
Less traffic and cleaner air, and that's a good thing.
Less traffic, cleaner air. Carpooling is a good thing.
I'm Joey over at the Rio, and I love being a Club Ride member.
I'm Bill with Cox Communications, and we're a proud partner with Club Ride.
Commute options are a good thing. Partner with Club Ride today.
To find out more, visit the Club Ride website.
Or call 228-RIDE or go to your HR office and speak to your transportation coordinator.
That's a wrap. That sounds good. That's a wrap.
Or can I do like Janis Joplin? That's all, folks.
Find a dock in my neighborhood.
The nearest dock is the Port of Long Beach, 284 miles away.
Find a dock. Doc!
Calling Doug.
Finding a family doctor in your neighborhood is as easy as visiting a UMC primary care. Locations valley-wide, there's one near you.
Find nearest Thai food.
Typhoons occur in the North Pacific Ocean.
The sale of marijuana is getting underway in Las Vegas.
But where can you consume it? On the Strip?
No, not even in your hotel room.
At my friend's house?
Sure, if they say yes.
How about in my camper?
Don't consume it and drive. That's dangerous and illegal.
While out hiking Mount Charleston?
No, not in any public spaces. You can't consume it or even possess it at the airport either.
At the bar or a nightclub?
No, not there either. Visit ClarkCountyNV.gov for more information. Be informed, be responsible.
Our community, our home. Clark County, Nevada. Thanks for watching Clark County Television.
Coming up next on Clark County Chronicles, a long-time after-school program has a new place for young boxers to train, thanks to Commission Chair Marilyn Kirkpatrick and some community partners. Commissioner Jim Gibson hosted another job fair in District G. We'll tell you more. And it was Java with Jones at a neighborhood coffee shop in District F. Those stories and more coming up next on Clark County Chronicles. Hello, I'm Randy Swallow. Welcome to Clark County Chronicles. The month of April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month. I recently sat down with one of Clark County's Assistant Directors in Family Services, Judy Tudor, to learn more about how the department is making Clark County a better place for children and families. Judy, thank you so much for joining us. The month of April, as we say, is Child Abuse Prevention Month. What does this month mean to you or anyone in the child welfare business?
Sadly, it's a busy month for us, and we get a lot of calls about child abuse and neglect, obviously all year long. Our hotline probably fields thousands and thousands of calls every month, and we screen those calls to determine what is suspicious of abuse and neglect, and ultimately go out and investigate a good percentage of those. But it's a very busy month for us in child welfare.
I know something that is very prominent on your website are the protective factors that relate to child abuse prevention. Talk to me about some of those.
Yeah, during Child Abuse Prevention Month, and really all the time, we like to talk about various things that we can do to help prevent child abuse and neglect. The reality is that most child abuse and neglect happens within the family system. And so we talk about these 6 protective factors as things that we can do to try and prevent child abuse and neglect. So the first factor really has to do with nurturing and attachment. The first few years of a child's life are critically important to them. It's critical brain development that's happening, and a consistent caregiver is really important for children and for parents to have that attachment to their children. And it really kind of sets the stage for how they interact with that child and how that child responds to them throughout their life. So when a child is crying or needs something, a parent's ability to meet those needs and respond is critically important. The second protective factor is really about parent knowledge and having an understanding of child development. Kids don't come with manuals, and parenting is really hard. For anyone who is a parent, you know it's a challenge. And so any opportunities that parents have to learn more about how to parent their child at different developmental stages is critically important. At Clark County, we offer free parenting classes through our Parenting Project program that anyone in the community can call us at 702-455-5295, and they can access parenting classes. There's a link on our website as well that people can look into that. So that's a great resource because kids don't come with manuals. If you want to learn more about basic parenting skills or more complicated issues, parenting teens, which can be a challenge in and of itself, you can get more information there. The other protective factor is around parent resiliency. And what this is really talking about is a parent's ability to kind of bounce back from situations. Kids will sometimes test us and push our buttons. And our ability to understand they are children and we are the adults, and we have to kind of put our own needs aside to meet our children's needs is critically important in being able to prevent child abuse and neglect from happening. And then the fourth protective factor is about support and connections. So having those other parents that you can talk to, family, friends that you can reach out to just say, man, today was a tough day with Timmy. Here's what happened, and here's what I'm trying to do. Any advice that you can give. Along those lines, the fifth protective factor is about concrete supports that families oftentimes need just to meet basic needs. Food, clothing, shelter. Oftentimes, child abuse or neglect is a symptom of a bigger problem in a family. And sometimes those families are just struggling with trying to make ends meet, and the stress that comes along with that causes them to lash out. No parent ever wakes up in the morning and goes, you know, today's the day I'm going to abuse my child, right? It's something that people get frustrated about. They get stressed and overwhelmed. And so some of those support services just to help them with rent or transportation or to take some of the stress off of them are really important. And then the last protective factor is really about understanding your children and children being able to express their feelings, and parents really encouraging them to express their feelings. Talk about how they're feeling, empathize with what they're going through, and being able to provide some guidance that hopefully they've gotten from some of that parenting knowledge that they've gained.
Obviously, outside of the family situation, the well, let's bring this back a little bit, like Homeland Security, say, see something, say something. That pretty much pertains to people in the child welfare, that if I'm out in the public and see something that doesn't say right, I could hit one of those hotlines or do something, and I shouldn't hold my tongue, right?
Absolutely. If at any point in time you are concerned about something you see happening to a child, you should absolutely contact our Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline. Our Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can contact them at 702-399-0081. Someone will answer the phone. They will take down your information. And even if you're not sure, if you see something that looks unusual, suspicious, call it in. It's our job to figure out if that's abuse or neglect and something that needs to be investigated. Sometimes people will call us and it's not, and that's okay. It's better to be safe than sorry, and give us a call and let us try and figure that out and help walk someone through that.
You talked about the Parenting Project classes. These are for all, there's several different classes for all different age groups, and some of these classes aren't just for a child that is in trouble, right? This is to teach you maybe to be a better parent or how you can better interact with your child. Is that right?
Absolutely. These are for any parents in the community. I know when I was a new parent, I read every book I could get my hands on, right, to try and understand what to do, how to parent. And these are classes that help anyone in the community with those kinds of things. You're curious about, we get a lot of parents that struggle in parenting their teens. There's a class that we offer where the parent attends and the parent and teen attend together on some of those sessions, just to learn how to communicate better, to work with one another through that difficult teenage stage where, teenagers are trying to assert their own independence, and parents are still trying to help them stay safe and help them work some of those issues out. So there are classes for how to care for an infant if you're a new parent. There are classes for how to care for toddlers, for school age. So yeah, they offer a lot of different resources for any parent who just needs some extra help and support in trying to work their way through being a parent. We definitely use evidence-based curriculum in our parenting classes because we want to give our community the best possible chance in their parenting. And so they are expensive, but luckily there are a lot of grants and things out there that help us be able to pay for that so that we can offer them free to anyone in the community who wants to take them.
So just there's numbers on your website they can find out any of those?
Absolutely. On the website you'll find a link to the types of classes as well as when and where they're being offered, and you can always contact us directly at 702-455-5295.
And this might finally be a good time to mention that fostering is always something that happens very much in Department of Family Services, and you're always looking for foster parents?
Absolutely. Child abuse and neglect is a community issue. A lot of times at Department of Family Services, obviously it's what we do every day, but when a child is abused or neglected, it affects all of us in the community. There was a study that was done in the 90s that kind of looked at adverse childhood effects. And what they found is that when a child experiences child abuse or neglect, they're 3 times more likely to develop heart disease, cancer. It also affects their life expectancy by 20 years. And that has huge, enormous impacts on us as a community in terms of the services that we pay based on things that people experienced in their childhood and the direct correlation it has to our physical health, our mental health. So it's not just a child welfare issue, it really is a community issue. And there are lots of things that we can do as a community to help. See something, say something, and reporting to our hotline, being able to offer these classes so that people can learn more, even being a mentor to a youth or getting involved in a school where you can read to kids or doing different activities that really kind of promote and support families and children. And of course, another way to help in that would be becoming a foster parent. Anyone can be critical in the life of a child and family to be there to support them. We talked about those protective factors. And foster parents are often great supports, not only for our children, but for our parents as well, in terms of supporting that process so that hopefully that child can return home and be with their family at some point. So we are always looking for people who would be willing to commit to a child and a family by being a foster parent. And there are a lot of different ways. Like I said, if foster parenting seems like a big commitment, there are a lot of other ways that you can help and work with these children and families in your community.
Thank you very much for spending time with us and giving us this valuable information.
Thank you.
An old county firehouse is now a new free boxing facility for hundreds of young pugilists, thanks to Clark County, a local trade union, and a certain soon-to-relocate National Football League team.
But this gives an opportunity to change their lives. You know, we create champions of life here.
Jose Benalis doesn't pull any punches when it comes to describing what he teaches the young boxers, both inside and outside the ring. Benalis is the president, manager, coach, trainer, cornerman, and probably has a few more titles at the Center Ring Boxing Organization. He's been the undisputed champion of the after-school youth program since 1994.
Still doing the same thing, helping youth stay out of trouble, mentoring, hopefully they get a better education, improve their grades in school, graduate, do something with themselves, and find something productive. And that's what our goal is. If they make it, boxing and stuff, that's fine. But our main goal is working with youth 18 and under.
On average, 80 teens drop in daily. Staying off the streets and getting good grades in school while absorbing punches and boxing lessons is the goal of the Center Ring Club. Joshua Estrada has honed his skills here for years.
I like it a lot because if it wasn't for boxing, I don't think I would be where I am at right now. I've improved a lot. Let's say if I was doing bad in school, my coach actually talks to me. Like, he helps me out school-wise and in boxing-wise. So yeah, I include him like family,
The club has had several locations over the years, and a new home was needed in 2018. The old County Fire Station 20 became shuttered and relocated a few years ago. The Down for the Count building became a nearly worthless piece of inventory for the county, and a strong team of partners, including the Oakland Raiders and the Laborers Union Local 872, helped turn an old dilapidated fire hall into a two-ring boxing gym.
It's a phenomenal partnership. So we were able to take a building that we had that we were actually going to demolition, and there was a real need in the community for something for kids to do. We have high gang activity here, so where could we get them into a constructive place? So we actually gave this to the nonprofits, and then they were able to bring in not only many of the kids that spar here, but many of the organizations, the labor organizations across the valley were able to come in and help make this workable so that they could actually do what they do best.
Commission Chair Marilyn Kirkpatrick threw a few verbal power punches and convinced the Raiders to donate thousands of dollars worth of weights and boxing equipment. And Local 872's Marco Hernandez spearheaded construction efforts to bring the old building up to code. That included a major renovation, including new walls, roof, and plumbing.
We had to leave the last place. The owners wanted to expand their company. They needed the space to expand what they were trying to do, so we were out the door. So if there wasn't for the laborers and the Raiders and Clark County, finding us a home, then we would have been closed down and we wouldn't be able to give the opportunity for youth, because we don't charge them to train. So we just barely started a $10 yearly fee, so they don't pay no monthly fee. They don't pay to be trained. It's all free.
Thousands of kids have passed through the Center Ring Club over the decades, and Jose is proud to have helped instill physical and mental toughness into the lives of his students, learning from knockdowns as they enter adulthood.
There's a lot of doctors, lawyers, and everything that went through a program like ours somewhere in the country, that became doctors, lawyers. There's a lot of testimony on that. So, it's a great stepping stool for youngsters, especially, it's always been known as a poor sport. So it attracts a lot of youth that would have been in gangs or mischiefs, or just something that that makes them do bad things. But this gives them an opportunity to change their lives, to stay out of trouble.
And this place is so successful that Commissioner Kirkpatrick plans to add other youth facilities in the second shuttered building, creating programs for aspiring chefs and mechanics.
One of the things we're doing with the rest of this campus is we're working with social services in Clark County School District, because we are going to demo the other part, but we're going to put an auto mechanics and a culinary center here, so that the kids that are in our juvenile justice, they can actually come here and get certified, report in, and continue to do move on in their life in a positive way.
Our most famous sign was given a blue light bulb treatment recently as the Board of County Commissioners declared March as Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month.
We'd like to present this proclamation to you on behalf of our board.
Vice Chair Lawrence Weekly and fellow Commissioner Michael Naft presented a proclamation to Johnny Nelson of the Lynch Syndrome International Organization, a team dedicated to educating and raising awareness of colorectal cancer.
The 5-year survival rate for colorectal cancer found at a local stage is 90%, compared to 14% of colorectal cancer found at distant stages. Colorectal cancer is one of the most preventable types of cancer. It's also one of the most treatable if caught early.
The group then flipped the switch to turn the usually yellow lights blue to acknowledge the work being done by the organization. Lynch syndrome is a hereditary condition that greatly raises a person's chance of contracting colorectal or other aggressive types of cancer.
Colorectal cancer, which touches so many lives each year. As a matter of fact, today, 1.7 million Americans are living with this disease. This year, another 130,000 people will be diagnosed with this cancer. It's so important, ladies and gentlemen, that we do better. We do better because early detection, of course, is the best detection.
And men over 50 are most at risk for being diagnosed with colorectal cancer.
But the good news is this is treatable and avoidable if we just catch it early. So we're here to remind people, if you're hitting that age of 50 years old, make sure you're getting screened and tested, because if we find it early, we can get it under control.
Commissioner Justin Jones is actively reaching out to his constituents. The most recent example was a Java with Jones meet and greet event here at the Neighbors Coffee Shop in District F. We all know a proper coffee shop is stocked with delectable sweet treats, strong cups of joe, and the din of lively conversation. And on this day, Commissioner Justin Jones hardly had time for a bite or a sip as he opened his ears and chatted with residents about the most pressing issues in District F.
Well, I think that this is what the job's all about. It's about getting out there and hearing the concerns, and so that they can filter up so that we as a county commission can serve the people that live in our area.
The commissioner listened and answered questions about zoning, transportation, and parks, the typical neighborhood queries. But he was a bit surprised by many people's concerns about short-term rentals, such as Airbnb, which are illegal in Clark County.
I think the gravity of some of the short-term rental issues was even worse than I expected. Saw a couple of pictures of people with projected lights up on their house that were used as basically a club in a neighborhood. So I think definitely something I'll be following up on.
Clark County's code enforcement team works diligently on a program called STREET, which stands for Short-Term Rental Education Enforcement Team. The officers actively investigate all claims of landlords using residents as hotel rooms. The Street Squad's goal is compliance, offering education to homeowners who might not know they are breaking the law, and fines are levied as a last resort against the property owners, not the renters. Citizens have many other ways of contacting Commissioner Jones anytime. Residents are encouraged to sign up to receive a free District F newsletter via the county website, ClarkCountyNV.gov. And he also welcomes followers on his Twitter handle, @JustinJonesNV. For the second time in the past few months, Commissioner Jim Gibson brought together dozens of employers and hundreds of career seekers during the 2019 Spring Job Fair here at the Enclave.
Our hope is that they find lots of opportunities, okay?
Commissioner Jim Gibson welcomed a few hundred keen career seekers who arrived at 9 a.m. sharp.
Thank you. Have a great one, too. I'm Vicki.
This was the latest community job fair sponsored by Workforce Connections and other organizations of employment experts. The event gave job searchers a chance to shake hands, meet potential new employers, and drop off resumes in hopes of being hired. A career fair provides face-to-face contact and is a much more effective way to find a job than an internet interaction.
You know, we have 845 pre-registrations, people who are seeking different employment or seeking employment themselves. 78 employers here today. This is the largest we've seen. And we're here at Enclave, which is a phenomenal facility, and it's perfect for this.
The Clark County Fire Department set up a booth, just one of the local government entities seeking to hire.
You're hiring on the spot, huh?
Many small businesses are always on the lookout to improve.
We are looking to fill about 30 positions that we have open.
And even larger companies that have thrived since the 1950s, such as Binions and the Four Queens. They keep a constant search open for quality new team members.
I can find a lot more candidates, or a lot more candidates can find me. So I get a lot more resumes come in, and I can disseminate them to the hiring managers, and we usually find with a big fair like this, 2 to 3 hires.
The unemployment rate in the Valley is less than 5%, but layoffs are still an unfortunate fact of life. And many people haven't had to hunt for work for years.
This sounded really interesting, and I guess because there's so many vendors here, I thought I'd have a good opportunity in finding work. I was laid off my last job in January, so time is of the essence, and I'm trying to find something quick, and I thought this would be a good place to try it. I've never done a job fair before, so it's my first time.
Clark County's healthy economy and the low unemployment rate actually means many jobs are being created, and a shortage of qualified bodies to fill them.
We still have people that are underemployed, we have a lot of people that are unemployed, and we have employers who are in dire need of finding the right people for them. This is the perfect way to connect them up.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, ladies.
A new partnership between a telecom giant and the Silver and Black will ensure that the Raiders Stadium will be the most wired and smartest facility of its kind when it opens next year. Over at the Las Vegas Stadium, the steel framework is quickly being installed as the 65,000-seat facility progresses closer to completion in time for the football season of 2020.
That we've signed a 10-year sponsorship agreement as a founding partner of the Las Vegas Stadium, the future home of the Raiders, and we couldn't be happier.
And Cox Communications is now teaming up with Raider Nation, inking a decade-long deal to provide telecom, internet, and Wi-Fi connectivity at Las Vegas Stadium and at the team's practice facility under construction in Henderson.
This relationship goes back decades. The two organizations have worked together since the late 90s. So when we moved here and we had an opportunity to engage with some of the local companies, the fact that Cox was interested in partnering with us and becoming a founding partner of Las Vegas Stadium and a key partner of the Raiders was both personally exciting and professionally exciting.
Cox Communications is a group that shares the Raiders' commitment to excellence for their performance as the largest private telecom company in the country. And locally, Cox provides service to a couple other world-class facilities, the Las Vegas Convention Center and the T-Mobile Arena.
And I tell you, it will be the most connected stadium in the country when fans enter those doors for the first game. Las Vegas is clearly becoming the sports and entertainment capital of the world, but it's also becoming one of the smartest, most connected cities in the world. And this new Las Vegas Stadium will perfectly complement the progression of this city.
Of course, the Las Vegas Stadium will be used for more than just professional sports. Concerts, special events, and the UNLV Rebels football team will all call this place home, a true global events destination in Clark County. one of the most iconic local concert and entertainment venues has been rockin' and rollin' at Mandalay Bay for 20 years.
I'd like to present you with this proclamation, again on behalf of Clark County and my colleagues, recognizing today, March 1st, as House of Blue Days in recognition of your birthday, 20 years, tomorrow, March 2nd. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Michael Knapp presented a proclamation to the House of Blues, recognizing their 2 decades of musical excellence in our community.
This is far from my first time at the House of Blues. This might be my first time here at 10 a.m. Normally it's been in the evenings, but I have to say I grew up in this community, and the House of Blues over the last 20 years has been such an integral part, whether during my time at UNLV, this was, and even till today, this is the place to be, and they've done such a wonderful job of bringing such an eclectic group of stars and those who want to be stars to Las Vegas and providing them an intimate, friendly atmosphere for us to enjoy them.
Bob Dylan performed at the first ever House of Blues show. And since 1999, thousands of diverse performers have graced the stages in the music hall, restaurant stage, and the foundation room. The Las Vegas House of Blues is one of 11 locations in the country.
It's been quite a ride, and we continue to try and find new ways to bring different talent, improve our menus and our food and beverage service. And I think that starts and ends with our staff, right? Some of our staff have been here for just about 20 years. Many people, 10 plus.
A couple dozen longtime employees joined in the celebration and unveiled a commemorative poster festooned with fans' memories, old ticket stubs, and pictures from previous House of Blues shows. For up-to-date concert listings, menus, and much more, visit houseofblues.com. He's world famous on the Strip, and his lips barely move. But Terry Fader was thrilled to be honored by the Board of County Commissioners on his 10th anniversary here at the Mirage.
I also hear that you travel around the country and brag about us too, so you're an ambassador for Nevada. But on behalf of the Clark County Commission, I wanted to give you a key to Clark County. This is a diamond, so this is very important. Protect that with your life. And I also have a proclamation from all the county commissioners.
Commissioner Tick Sagerblom presented a key to the Strip and a proclamation to entertainer Terry Fader at the Mirage recently. The ventriloquist marked 10 years at the hotel, a remarkable run for a talented comedian.
Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace.
Fader's ventriloquillo talent extends far beyond the puppets attached to his arm. After winning season 2 of America's Got Talent, he's wowed audiences with his impressions, comedy, and songs in Las Vegas since 2007. The next year, he became a Mirage headliner and performs nightly in his namesake theater.
This is incredibly unbelievable to have the key to the Strip. I appreciate this, and my plans are to stay here for the rest of my natural life and career. So thank you.
Well, that's our show. For more information on anything you've seen on this program or anything relating to your Clark County government, visit our website at ClarkCountyNV.gov. On behalf of all of us here at Clark County Television, I'm Randy Swallow. We'll see you again next time here on Clark County Chronicles.
You're watching Clark County Television, our community, our home, Clark County, Nevada.
Hello and welcome to Flight Path. I'm Chris Jones, the Chief Marketing Officer at McCarran International Airport. 2018 was an exceptional year for McCarran. We celebrated our 70th anniversary, welcomed record numbers of passengers, and were honored with a prestigious award. Here's a look at the year just ended and some of the moments that made it special.
Throughout the past year, the team at McCarran worked hard to deliver a memorable experience for visitors and local travelers. From live entertainment for passengers and beautiful upgrades in the terminals, to supporting the local community and honoring our military, no opportunity to show true Las Vegas hospitality was missed.
Hello, my name is Agay Girmay from Ethiopia. Welcome to my new hometown, Las Vegas.
Attention to detail, overall improvements, and a Vegas-only vibe all contributed to McCarran taking top honors in the J.D. Power 2018 North America Airport Satisfaction Study.
Good morning, boarding pass and ID.
Together with partner agencies, McCarran has kept passengers moving smoothly on their journeys.
You know, part of the vision statement of the airport is to be on the cutting edge of technology.
New technology like automated screening lanes at security checkpoints, along with new amenities and the completion of $30 million in improvements in Terminal 1, helped McCarran climb in the rankings. McCarran's commitment to service doesn't stop with passengers in the terminals. Helping those in need on a local level is just as important as providing award-winning service to travelers.
Thank you. You bet.
Last year, the Community Enrichment Team donated time and talent during their off hours to charitable organizations including Spread the Word Nevada, Opportunity Village, and 3 Square Food Bank.
It's very heartwarming. It's heartwarming that the ones that have a bit more give to the less fortunate, and it's definitely a lesson to my kids.
In addition, employees with McCarran's Landside Operations Division volunteered at the semi-annual Las Vegas Wash Green Up Planting event, helping revegetate a 10-acre site. In support of Las Vegas's tourism-driven economy, McCarran's Voices of Vegas music program brings live entertainment to travelers. An end-of-summer party featuring singers from the Shakespeare Institute of Nevada helped cool things down before the busy Labor Day weekend. Rancho High School's mariachi and ballet folklorico performers welcomed passengers arriving in Las Vegas for Mexican Independence Day weekend, an event that's become a tradition at McCarran.
I just love how it makes people feel. It's like it energizes people, makes people happy.
Anything that we have to do in our occupation requires us to read.
Exposing students to careers in aviation while encouraging them to stay in school and study hard is another airport tradition. Last year, more than 25 team members visited nearby Gene Ward Elementary for Nevada Reading Week. The airport also facilitated the annual Salute to the Troops arrival, a celebration where wounded service members are flown on an American Airlines charter to Las Vegas for an all-expenses-paid weekend of entertainment, relaxation, and sightseeing.
I feel a connection to the military because family members have been in it, and I feel like not enough people understand what these men do and these women, how they sacrifice and their families sacrifice.
The best part about my job is being able to participate in the honor flights to honor our troops that have served for our country, and this is what makes work great.
Learning opportunities throughout the year strengthen McCarran's commitment to people.
Autism causes me to behave differently than what you may think or expect.
Autism awareness classes showed the team how to interact with and assist travelers with developmental disabilities, while sessions on human trafficking trained employees in how to identify potential victims and in where they can get help. Year's End saw the return of the student choir from Doris French Elementary School to help kick off the holiday season at the airport.
Christmas bells are ringing.
Choirs from around the Las Vegas area perform sounds of the season throughout the month of December to keep spreading joy in the terminals.
McCarran is the economic engine that drives this dynamic destination. It's an important part of the local, national, and global communities, as well as a hub that bridges passengers and places. And that's why people will always be at the heart of this airport.
Well, we hope you appreciated that look back at 2018, and we're going to have a great conversation now talking about some of the highlights from last year and also an opportunity to look forward to what's to come in 2019. And to do that, I'm joined by 3 very special guests, starting with our airport director, Ms. Rosemary Vasiliadis, Jim Chrisley, who is our deputy director, and Joe Perkowski, who's our chief financial officer. I'm going to start with Rosemary. And Rosemary, 2018, another record year, nearly 50 million passengers. Tell us about what you think is so important about the airport and how it serves a great role for this community.
Well, Chris, first of all, I want to thank my teammates here with me because it really takes all of us to keep this dynamic airport going. We were really excited about breaking our all-time record. It's something that is very unique in large airports with the role that we serve. We service a community of a little over 2 million, but we have the pleasure of servicing half of the 42 million passengers that come through town. And that's something that we take very seriously and know that we are part of that experience, you know, part of that first and last look of Las Vegas. So we're very integral in every part of what that passenger goes through here.
For a community this size to have the level of service that we have, it really is unprecedented. That's just a testament to Las Vegas and how popular the destination is and the airport's role in that.
You know, with 80% of our total passenger count being origin and destination, which means they come to Las Vegas, they leave to Las Vegas. They're not just transferring through our facility. That is a testimonial to the power and the strength of this town.
You talked about the appeal of Las Vegas. One of the things that we've seen happening here in recent years is a great increase in people coming from outside the United States to visit this destination. Tell us about how the airport plays a role in that and some of the exciting developments that we've seen with international visitation.
Well, it's really exciting to have the growth in international visitation that we have because, first of all, they all fly in. So our numbers have grown just exponentially over the past several years. And even this past year, we were honored enough to welcome 3 new international carriers from all around the world into our destination and through our airport. Again, something that we take very seriously. We look at what they need to process through. We work very closely with our Customs and Border Protection staff. We were able to welcome them through a video welcome, you know, Las Vegas style. And through the corridor, there's old Las Vegas pictures, which our international passengers love. And so we look at each part of that just to make it, you know, Vegas because they're choosing to come here.
Turning to you now, Jim, Rosemary talked a lot about the growth, and to be able to accommodate that growth successfully, we've obviously got to look at our facilities. Tell us a little bit about what's in store in the airport in terms of capital improvements, physical improvements, and things that might make the experience that much better for our customers.
We've been putting lots of projects and effort into Terminal 1, and we're looking to continue that in the coming year. Our AB gates, we're continuing the project where we're going to be replacing carpet with the shiny terrazzo flooring. We're also looking at the restroom upgrades, enhancing the appearance of our wall coverings, as well as reconfiguring, in A gates at least, reconfiguring our hold rooms to maybe make them more spacious, allow for additional seating, and give them a brand new look.
There's been a lot of growth with the carriers in the AB gates. Tell us about why it's important to upgrade that portion of the airport.
Yeah, so we've just started a project. We're actually going to expand the number of lanes in the AB checkpoint. And when that's complete, we're going to be able to add these automated screening lanes. Those that travel regularly have noticed we've deployed those already at 3 of our other checkpoints. So this project will allow us to provide that service within the AB checkpoint. And what these lanes do, they provide a more efficient screening process and experience for our customers as they process through the TSA checkpoint.
We also know that people like the ability to use TSA PreCheck. That will be in the AB checkpoint as well?
Absolutely. So as part of the expansion, we're going to have 2 dedicated PreCheck lanes for our PreCheck customers.
Tell us what's in store for people who are leaving the airport, driving on our roadways, maybe taking Uber and Lyft or a taxi. A lot of things are going on in that part of the airport.
Absolutely. And one of those areas is our Uber and Lyft pickup areas. Has become a very popular mode of transportation, and we're looking at actually relocating the pickup area in Terminal 1, and we're looking at bringing it down a level to remove that vertical movement requirement for our passengers.
Why are the roadways so important for the overall airport experience?
People want to be able to know when they leave home that they can make their flight on time or leave their hotel, and when there's congestion on the roadway, that becomes an unknown. We've taken on a study to evaluate our existing roadways and what can we possibly do to improve that flow through the airport. It's the whole experience from door to curb here, and then from curb all the way to the gate. We have to look at all of it. If we really want that true exceptional experience, we need to evaluate and improve all those aspects.
All right, I'm going to turn now to our Chief Financial Officer, Joe Perkowski. Joe, you get to deal with all of the fun revenue side of the airport, and I think a lot of people don't understand there's so many different ways that we are self-sustaining. And one of those big pieces is advertising. There's a lot in store for advertising in 2019, so let our viewers know about what they might see when they come here.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Chris. And what you'll see, and it's an ongoing project that's already been started, is we're going to be replacing our old backlit can signs with digital advertising. And what that'll allow us to do is not only put multiple advertisements on one board, but also be able to change out those boards rapidly and therefore increase our revenue.
We talked a little bit about advertising revenue. One of the other great sources of revenue for an airport is concessions and retail. As we can see behind you right now, we've added a lot of new stores in 2018, more to come in 2019.
Not only did we add these in 18, but we're constantly refreshing all of the concepts, both retail and food and beverage. And right now we're looking at a big major expansion of our checkpoint in AB, and with that we'll also be refreshing the concepts there. So there'll be a new Shake Shack as well as a Jamba Juice. So right here in the D gates we'll be adding a common use lounge. It's called the Club at LAS.
And that's important along with the new duty free that came online in 2018, correct?
Yes, the duty free is another critical part of serving our international customers here in D gates. It's very important that we have these revenue sources so we can keep our rates and charges to the airlines low and keep our fares to the destination low.
All this conversation, Rosemary, we've talked about things that we're doing to improve the airport. And in 2018, we received a phenomenal validation from a very well-respected outside party that shows that this is working. Tell us a little bit about what that meant and why it's so important to us here at the airport and the community we serve.
Well, we ranked #1 along with Orlando as #1 in customer satisfaction. And that's really important to us because we're a discretionary location. So they choose to come here. So to be ranked #1 in large airports is just a huge honor. And so we actually have an airport-wide effort of appreciating the customer, letting the customer know that they are needed, that they're wanted, that they're respected, and that we want them to be served with what they need.
Rosemary, Joe, Jim, thank you for joining us. A lot of great things going on in 2018, even more going on in 2019, and we look forward to what McCarran has in store for this community. Every January, tens of thousands of attendees and exhibitors descend upon Las Vegas for one of the world's largest annual trade shows. Here's a look at how the team at McCarran prepares for the influx of visitors.
The International Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, has become one of the biggest events of the year for Las Vegas. This January, it brought upwards of 180,000 visitors to the community, most of whom arrived by air. That kind of volume took careful planning at McCarran.
Months before CES began, the Department of Aviation, airlines, TSA, and other agencies started coordinating their efforts to make sure CES delegates would have a seamless travel experience at the airport.
For a big event like CES, we usually start the previous summer. It takes us to get with all of our stakeholders, the airlines, other airport entities, to make sure that that plan is successful, figure out what the gate plan is going to be, and ensure that we can accommodate all the extra traffic.
Airlines added special flights specifically targeting CES attendees, with nearly 3 dozen coming from overseas. Flights brought visitors from Amsterdam, London, Paris, Shanghai, Tokyo, and more. Some of those flights used aircraft not normally seen in Las Vegas, a treat for aviation enthusiasts and a challenge for those who find gates for those aircraft.
We have more than 3 dozen international flights coming in for CES. 3 in particular are ones just for this event. We have Air France, Air Tahiti Nui, and also KLM. In addition, we also have the Delta Northeast Wing. We revamped that to accommodate international traffic. That's helped us out greatly in expanding our capability of handling international traffic.
Once on the ground, everyone needs a ride to their hotel or convention space. During CES 2018, taxis and Uber and Lyft drivers saw a record 29,878 pickups in one day. This year, McCarran's Landside Operations Division and ground transportation vendors made sure they were ready for the next wave. CES guests who want to hit the ground running had the option of picking up their convention credentials before they even left the airport. Terminal operations staff were on hand to keep check-in lines organized during busy times. Many convention attendees leave Las Vegas on the same day, requiring additional planning and coordination on the outbound side. The Transportation Security Administration made sure travelers got through checkpoints in a timely manner. With the help of airline partners, the McCarran team helped inform departing passengers which terminal to use for check-in.
Inside the terminals, we have the leaderboards that we'll put out, make sure that the travelers can see what's going to happen non-standard. For example, you may enter and land and arrive at Terminal 3, but depart out of the Delta gates. So in order to make that happen, proper signage is key to making that successful, and communicating via social media and some of the other platforms as well.
Through strong planning and teamwork, the Department of Aviation and its partners provided the best first and last impression of Las Vegas for thousands who attended the world's premier electronics trade show.
As a convenience to our customers, McCarran International Airport offers self-service check-in kiosks in both terminals. They're easy to use and help streamline the departure process for busy travelers. You can even use them to tag your own checked bags.
For passengers traveling with no checked bags, getting from the curb to the gate is simple with McCarran's Speed Check advanced kiosks. In Terminal 1, there are banks of kiosks on Level 2 near the Aviation Museum and across from the A and B gate security checkpoint. They can also be found in ticketing. In Terminal 3, kiosks are situated near domestic and international departures as well as in areas adjacent to the checkpoint. Self-service kiosks save travelers time by offering an alternative to waiting in line for an employee to assist them. Using touchscreen technology, passengers choose from a list of participating carriers. Once the airline's reservation system is visible, guests follow the step-by-step instructions on the screen to complete the check-in process. After the passenger has checked in, the machine prints out a boarding pass. If you're not checking a bag, simply take the boarding pass and head to the security screening area, then onto the gate. Self-service kiosks are also available near the airline's ticket counters. For passengers with checked bags, these devices offer even more convenience. Just use the kiosk to print a bag tag, apply the tag to the bags to be checked, and drop off the luggage with an attendant. Currently, a total of 13 airlines at McCarran offer the self-tagging option. They are Air Canada, Alaska, American, British Airways, Condor, Hawaiian, JetBlue, LATAM, Southwest, Spirit, Thomas Cook, United, and WestJet. For travel tips and information on technology at the airport, visit mccarran.com/travel.
If you walked around McCarran and wondered, is this place going to the dogs? You probably noticed our four-legged security experts, a team of highly trained canines and their handlers add an extra layer of airport security. Let's take a look at our canine unit.
Explosives are known to be the greatest threat to the aviation system. With their super sensitive noses, specially trained canines are ideal for sniffing out trouble.
Come on, bub. Good.
The Department of Aviation has numerous explosive detection canine teams working in shifts to provide coverage 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The McCarran dogs received training at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. After arriving in Las Vegas, there is site-specific training to help the dog adjust to the airport environment.
Zeke.
Both human and canine members of the teams go through intensive preparation to establish a bond.
So we develop a bond early, and it's a responsibility of the handler to ensure that there are daily welfare checks done on the animal to ensure that he's well nourished, getting the proper feeding, the proper diet.
McCarran's canine unit works and trains all over the airport, in ticketing and baggage claim, parking garages and gate areas, and behind the scenes in cargo. The teams handle thousands of unscheduled calls for service each year, responding to requests to inspect unattended vehicles and bags, and assisting with special baggage screening situations. They also support security details for traveling dignitaries and VIPs.
It's a very unique unit. It's something that requires a lot of hard work and something that requires a challenge working with an animal. I felt like that was a perfect role for me, and I've been loving it ever since.
Good job.
The Transportation Security Administration has a group of dogs and handlers of its own. TSA's passenger screening canines work the security checkpoints at McCarran, helping keep the lines moving during peak times. They expedite the screening process by essentially allowing everyone cleared by the dog to be screened as a pre-checked passenger. The McCarran dogs are sociable, but they are working canines and should not be petted or fed by anyone but their handlers. Most are outfitted with Do Not Pet Vest, and handlers are proactive about preventing unwelcome contact with their pups. With their keen sense of smell, the specially trained working dogs of McCarran are an effective tool for detecting danger and keeping the airport safe and secure.
McCarran was the backdrop for last fall's Las Vegas Girls in Aviation Day event. Nearly 100 local girls spent a day exploring the variety of career opportunities in the aviation industry. Here's a look at what they learned.
Explore today, have fun, ask questions, enjoy yourself.
Each year, Women in Aviation International hosts Girls in Aviation Day events around the globe. The organization is a nonprofit dedicated to encouragement and advancement of women in aviation careers.
The Las Vegas chapter of Women in Aviation International, Allegiant Airlines, and other agencies partnered to host this special experience. Girls with a variety of career goals attended the event here at McCarran.
After checking in and going through security, the girls proceeded to a gate where they were given backpacks and snacks. Activities in the boarding area included lessons on how airplanes fly, flight planning, and drones. A career panel featured women in a variety of aviation jobs. The event was meant to encourage, educate, and inspire the next generation of women in the industry.
And so to be able for a little girl to see someone who looks like her in a field that she's interested in really helps to say, I can do that and I can be that. And so that's really what the organization really focuses on, and then Girls in Aviation Day specifically focuses to encourage those girls to pursue any type of career in aviation that they're interested in.
The girls got up close to an Allegiant aircraft down on the ramp, where they did a pre-flight walk-around inspection led by female pilots.
And we also make sure when we come over here to the side, you guys
all the little nuts and bolts around. You have to make sure that all of those are in there.
Then they boarded the aircraft, and a Las Vegas-based crew showed them the cabin, flight deck, and all the controls used to fly a plane.
I think it's just very important to see the motivation. There's nothing like coming to work and having the little girl wanting to come into the flight deck and asking questions. What does this do? What does that do? So it brings a lot of joy to me to see that.
The tour allowed the curious young ladies to ask questions and explore the inner workings of avionics systems, engines, and safety procedures.
In the event of emergency, if you have to get out fast, it all comes off really fast.
They also learned how to read aviation maps called sectional charts and how pilots use these navigational tools to fly from place to place.
If you look at the Mariana Airport, there's an obstruction there.
The event was a hands-on approach to learning that the girls enjoyed.
I really like seeing stuff in person and learning it in person.
Pilots from all sectors of the industry, including military, general aviation, and commercial airlines, served as role models at the event. However, Girls in Aviation Day is not just about becoming a pilot. The young ladies were introduced to many careers in aviation, such as engineering, air traffic control, rotary flight, medevac operations, airport safety, and aircraft maintenance. From speaking to professionals one-on-one to seeing planes up close, the day was packed full of lessons the girls will not forget.
I've been on a lot of planes and I'm interested to see because a lot of people in my mom's family had to do with planes.
Girls in Aviation Day was held in nearly 100 locations worldwide and introduced a record number of girls ages 8 to 17 to the career and lifestyle possibilities in the aviation industry.
To reach out to our growing number of Hispanic customers, each episode of Flight Path features a segment in Spanish with English subtitles. Here's Gabriela Muro to tell us more about how travelers can find good food on the go and a look at the wide range of meals and snacks that meet a variety of dietary needs and preferences.
Los aeropuertos son lugares donde los clientes tienen una variedad de opciones de comida. McCarran cuenta con una gran variedad de opciones para el viajero, desde comidas para llevar, bocadillos y restaurantes para sentarse.
Para los clientes que tienen alergias a los alimentos o aquellos que simplemente prefieren seguir una dieta específica, los restaurantes del aeropuerto ofrecen opciones veganas, vegetarianas y sin gluten.
HMS Host is really engaging with our customer, and our customer are health focused. They're really looking for those options.
Los clientes que buscan comidas bajas en calorías mientras viajan pueden visitar el PGA Tour Grill. Aquí, los alimentos del menú incluyen las ensaladas griega, el salmón a la parrilla y una hamburguesa de pavo. El restaurante también cuenta con la popular ensalada Power, con quiona, tomate, pimientos asados, garbanzos, rúcula, aguacate y hierbas frescas, para ofrecer a los viajeros conscientes de la salud más opciones. HMS Host introdujo recientemente una nueva gama de comida, aperitivos y bebidas.
We have developed with several nutritionists is paleo boxes and lunch boxes and protein boxes. They're all under 500 calories, no high fructose corn syrup, no added sweeteners. It's really that experience to be able to go into an airport and eat healthy.
Las comidas que come bien y viaje más lejos están disponibles en los kioscos Fresh Attractions. Hay alimentos y bebidas basados en las tendencias populares de bienestar, como las bebidas probióticas, orgánicas, los bocadillos saludables como las chips de col rizado, los garbanzos asados y las frutas secas orgánicas. Las cajas de bentón como la lonchera vegana, las cajas de bocadillos paleo y la lonchera de proteínas, también amplias las opciones saludables para los viajeros. Los clientes vegetarianos y veganos pueden visitar Freeway, donde el menú incluye edamame, rollitos de primavera de vegetables, arroz frito vegetariano y fideo vegetariano lo mein. Para los viajeros que desean una hamburguesa, pero que la quieren sin carne, PGA Tour Grill, Sammy's Beach Bar and Grill y José Cuervo Tequilería, Las Vegas Chop House y Burks in the Box ofrecen la hamburguesa imposible.
For those passengers who are looking for a vegan option, it's a great option to try. It tastes amazing and it's really a revolutionary product.
Para los pasajeros con sensibilidad al gluten, California Pizza Kitchen y Wolfgang Puck en las puertas D ofrecen pizzas sin gluten. Además, los restaurantes de todo el aeropuerto ofrecen aperitivos y ensaladas sin gluten.
Para obtener más información, visite nuestro sitio de internet mccarran.com para conocer las opciones de restaurantes disponibles en McCarran.
As the second busiest airport in Nevada, North Las Vegas Airport is a vital part of the Department of Aviation system. We recently completed a major upgrade to the terminal building, and the new look has captured the attention of all who use this facility.
North Las Vegas Airport is a convenient and economical gateway to downtown Las Vegas and the world-famous Strip. To reflect the dynamic community it serves, the Clark County Department of Aviation has recently added some sparkle and shine to the facility.
The remodel gives the whole space an updated, modern feel. There's a new color palette woven throughout the design, and beautiful new terrazzo flooring brightens the rooms. The material is easy to clean and easy on the eyes.
We've given our terminal a facelift, and it is very exciting to bring the modern era in here.
The terminal also boasts new ceilings, stainless steel handrails, column surrounds, and an updated paint scheme. In keeping with the commitment to customer service, designers were sure to provide fully accessible restrooms and drinking fountains, and to upgrade the fixed-base operations areas.
We are a full-service FBO, which is a fixed-base operator. We offer ground transportation, we offer baggage handling and fuel services for the aircraft.
Custom artwork on the walls enhances the modern look while showcasing the importance of this airport in the aviation community. The conceptual designs consist of overlays of lines depicting runway configurations, flight arrival and departure tracks, helicopter tour paths, and the airspace surrounding the airport.
With its modern new design and team of dedicated professionals, North Las Vegas Airport is poised to soar into a successful future serving its customers and the community.
Airports can be a challenging environment for individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities. To help educate and make McCarran more accessible, we've worked with Magnus Mode to offer a customized mobile app. It helps people with autism and other special needs navigate the airport.
For some, the hustle and bustle of a popular airport like McCarran can be exciting, but for travelers with special needs, the sights and sounds can be a bit overwhelming. To make the travel experience more accessible, the airport has partnered with Magnus Mode to offer a mobile app for passengers who require extra assistance. The technology uses a series of photos and instructions, known as Magnus cards, to guide users through everyday experiences. The app features a character named Magnus. Users can choose the custom McCarran tab and follow Magnus on a journey by swiping through the photos to learn about checking in, security screening, finding a restroom, boarding an airplane, and baggage claim.
We always bring the latest technologies to McCarran International Airport to make it easier for passengers, in this case with cognitive disabilities, become more familiar with the airport, makes it much more inclusive for everybody, and again, providing a great customer service for everybody.
Each photo is accompanied by an explanatory text. A voice option reads the instructions out to the user. Special needs travelers who download the app can use it to get familiar with travel experiences before going to the airport or as a how-to during their actual trip.
They're able to see fun, interactive cards that they can learn about the airport. So before they come, they already know where different things are, how it operates, and then when they get here, it guides them through the airport, and so they feel comfortable that they've seen it before, and it really helps them have a good experience.
By using innovative technology, McCarran gives travelers the support they need for an inclusive airport experience. To learn more about the custom Magnus cards, download the app from the App Store or Google Play.
Now you're ready to pack your bags and fly the skies, so have a great trip. Remember to check us out on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, and use all the resources of our website, mccarran.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Flight Path.
Hello, I'm Michael Naft. Outreach and constituent services are among my top priorities as your representative for District A on the Clark County Commission. Several state legislators are joining me in hosting a series of informal meetings with residents to hear your concerns, provide information, and discuss possible solutions. For more information, please visit ClarkCountyNV.gov or call me at 702-455-3500.
You're watching Clark County Television, our community, our home, Clark County, Nevada.
Good morning. We're going to go ahead and call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 16th.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The first item we have is the invocation from Chaplain Victoria Campy from Messages of Faith Ministry.
For those who wish to bow their head and join in prayer, I pray, Almighty God, I come before you and thank you for demonstrating your love for us during this Holy Week in spring season. I ask for the blessings upon the Board of Clark County Commissioners and the citizens of this great state, and for all those here today. I pray for wisdom and humbled hearts for those in leadership, thoughts of others, and a betterment for all those they serve. Amen.
Okay, before we get started, I would like to invoke a little bit of personal privilege. Anyone who doesn't know Commissioner Weekly, if it is your birthday, he will sing happy birthday at least once a day to you. So I would like the audience to join me in, oh, he's acting embarrassed. Don't worry, he loves it. So... All right, on the count of three, if we could all sing happy birthday to him. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lord. Happy birthday to you. Okay, I feel better. Do you feel better? Okay.
Okay, Commissioners, the first item on your agenda is public comment.
At this time, anybody wishing to speak on any items that are on the agenda, please come forward and state your name for the record. Good morning, Ms. Coleman.
Good morning, Commissioner, and happy birthday to you, Lawrence Weekly. My items in which I'm speaking upon is 1, public comments, 2, concerning the accordance with the NRS, the budget finances, through approval of adapt and authorize the chair to sign a resolution to authorize refund as shown on Exhibit A. First of all, my name is Margaret Coleman, Coleman. Today's date, 4/16/2019. I won a court order that never has been paid by the gaming establishment or the state as written. I have been omitted and neglected. It has because of a racist bias, personnel of the law, enforcement that with no good causes. Public comments is all I can give. I'm requesting refund and reimbursement for over 38 years. They're creating this emancipation proclamation. Can't rent. I can't park on the streets. I can't live in the state of Nevada as a resident. Being stolen that causes slavery actions to exist again in the 20th century. Again, that should have never in our nation that has been proven the freedom, justice, and equality for all under the sun, the nation tribe of all colors should exist. They even got me as Lisa Coleman, a murderer under Margaret Ann Coleman, making me a victim of her crime.
Ms. Coleman? Ms. Coleman?
Exactly.
Ms. Coleman?
Excuse me.
Could I remind you that we are talking about the refund portion on the agenda, correct?
Thank you.
Okay.
So this is concerning an overview of the judgment concerning the notice of execution. This is concerning a statement from Shannon Moore Hughes, Glenda Lee Gates, and Steve Wynn, responsible for this emancipation violation that's creating slavery, once again using me. This is concerning my workman's compensation as an employee being injured on a job. I stand before you as being the first black woman that has been discriminated because of this court order. I stand before you wanting my workman's compensation and my pension back. You used Sisolak and she used...
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And again, happy birthday.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on public comment? You can go ahead and use the other microphone. And when you tell me your name, remind me which item that you're going to speak on public comment.
Yeah, before I begin, I wanted to speak regarding the Red Rock or just development in general.
So this, so I just want to remind you, so this portion of public comment is set aside just for items on the agenda. So the second portion of the meeting is for any item. So if you could keep it to any items on this agenda, or if you could wait till the end, that would be great.
So I may go on, or?
If it pertains to any item on this agenda.
Okay, yeah, Red Rock. So thank you, first of all, for having me here. It's a great pleasure.
Did you want to state your name for the record?
Yes. My name is Cyrus Hojati, 89148. So there's been a lot of frustration about Red Rock and all the new development that's taking place. I just want to talk about development in general. We have to know what's causing the need for new development. And I think
So I'm going to give you about 45 seconds because that really is more appropriate for tomorrow's meeting, which is the zoning meeting, which does talk about the Red Rock as a whole. So if you want to come back tomorrow, that's probably a more appropriate time, and our zoning folks will be here as well. But if there's anything on today's agenda, go ahead.
Okay, then I will just pass for now. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Anybody else wishing to speak on public comment? Seeing none? Oh, good morning. Which item?
Good morning. Items 39, 40, and 41.
Perfect.
I'm wondering if you can poll them, and then I could make my comments when you during the discussion.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and make your comments now, and then we'll see if I'm not sure that I want to hear what your comments are, why we would need to pull them. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Ed Euling. This involves the public lands that were given to the county for the purpose of providing funds to the county, particularly to the airport, which needs the funds to expand. And this was approved back in 2002 in a commission meeting where one person showed up at the meeting and requested that, simply requested, one person from the community showed up and simply requested, why isn't this project, which was at that time was 167 acres and was being given for $37,500 to the proponents, why a competitive bids couldn't be received. He was attacked viciously by Commissioner Williams at that time, back in 2002, and really not allowed to talk. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this project is producing millions of dollars for the county. It's a huge project. It's a very valuable land. And when I last looked into it about 8 years ago, it had produced very little for the county. I know that other people pay, like just to have parking, pay $1.40 per square foot. This is 167 acres, and you're adding more land. And is it being added under the old rules or under the new rules? And I would like someone to come and tell us how much has the airport received from this land, this 167 acres, in the 17 years of existence of this lease option for $39,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Euling. And honestly, I think that the questions that you have do not warrant pulling this particular agenda item, but I'm happy to work with you to get those questions in the future. Okay. Does that conclude our public comment? Okay, we will close public comment, and I'll turn it over to Ms. King.
Item number 2 is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on March 5th, 2019.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Gibson to approve the minutes of March 5th of 2019. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes.
Item number 3 is the approval of the agenda with the inclusion of any emergency items and deletion of any items. Commissioners, I have a couple of notes to provide for the agenda today. With the inclusion of one item in your addendum, we now have 90 items on your agenda. And staff is requesting that items numbers 81 and 90 under your business agenda be deleted. And those are all the changes staff has at this point.
Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions? I'd entertain a motion to move forward with the agenda, deleting items 81 and 90. I have a motion by Commissioner Weekly. Please cast your vote. Motion passes.
We can now move to section 2 of your agenda, which are your consent agenda. agendas. Please note that items numbers 4 through 69 comprise of your consent agenda. At this point in time, I do not have any items to be deleted, nor do I have any items to be taken separately.
Okay, do I have anybody from the board that would like to pull any items? Anybody from the public that would like to pull any items outside of yours? Mr. Euling, I'll work with you on 39 and 40, but just so you know, the questions and concerns that you had on 39 and 40 do not comply with the actual agenda item, so I'll work with you to get the answers that you want, okay? Okay, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Commissioner Weekly.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Gibson.
As to item 44, it has been now more than 15 years, but at one point I was an officer in American Pacific Corporation. I've had nothing. I am not employed by them, and that relationship ended over 15 years ago. But out of an abundance of caution, I just want to disclose that former relationship.
Okay.
And I've discussed this matter with council, and I will be voting.
Okay. So seeing none, I have a motion by Commissioner Weekly to approve items 49 through 69. No further discussion or disclosures. Please cast your vote. Motion passes.
We can now move to Section 3 of the agenda, which is, are your Commissioners, County Manager recognition. Item number 70 is to present a proclamation to lift in recognition of funds raised for the Susan G. Komen and present a check for the proceeds to Susan G. Komen.
Thank you so much. If I could ask you all, you're already coming this way to join me. Thank you. I'm so pleased today to recognize some leaders in the Susan G. Komen fight to end cancer, along with some representatives from LIFT. These folks partnered together the last 6 months utilizing Showtime Car Wash in my district at 215 and Rainbow. They changed the signage, they changed the front of the facade pink in recognition of LIFT and in recognition of Susan G. Komen. And the funds that were raised during the portion of the funds from car washes are now going to be presented from LIFT to Susan G. Komen. I'm so glad to be joined by Tanya Flanagan, a member of the Clark County team, and the president of the board of directors of Susan G. Komen for Southern Nevada, and by Chelsea Bramble with Susan G. Komen, and Chris, the marketing lead at LIFT. If you want to join us, maybe you can speak to why you're presenting this today.
Sure. Just keep it short and simple. We know that cancer touches so many of our lives here in Las Vegas, and here at LIFT, we're just honored to be part of the community. So it made a lot of sense. And thank you very much for all the hard work you're doing. And the commissioners, thank you.
Thank you. And Tanya, I know we also want to flag something very important coming up and raise awareness. We have 1 million people each year walk along with Susan G. Komen, and you want to highlight when that's coming up?
Thank you, Commissioner Knapp, and thank you to all the commissioners for this recognition, and to LIFT for partnering with Susan G. Komen, Nevada, to raise dollars to help women and men who are diagnosed with breast cancer. Our annual walk is coming up on May 4th. It is the More Than Pink Walk this year, and it will be at Green Valley Ranch. Registration is open now and will be open that day as early as 6 a.m. The race kicks off at 8 a.m., so we're very happy to, again, have our 20th event here in Southern Nevada to help people who live here who are diagnosed with breast cancer. As a 3-time breast cancer survivor, this is very near and dear to my heart. So thank you again to LIFT. Thank you, commissioners, for recognizing this. It's just a huge honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya, and I hope everyone will join us out there for the walk this year. And if you, I'll swap spots with you, maybe we could take a picture and present $23,000 raised for Susan G. Komen. Thank you so much.
Okay, Commissioners, next we have item number 71, which is to present a proclamation to the Silver State Fair Housing Council proclaiming April 2019 as Fair Housing Month in Clark County.
Good morning. I would like to invite our friends up from the Silver State Fair Housing Division. So we have Shannon and Ivan who can come up. And really, April is about reminding people about fair housing. So back in 1968, about the time that Commissioner Weekly and I were born, we started with our fair housing. The Fair Housing Act was put in place, and that was to ensure that no matter what your income level was, no matter your race, no matter your sexual orientation, your gender identity, or your disability, you were ensured the opportunity to have housing. So we love recognizing this every April, and we'd like to give you a few minutes to talk about the importance of this program.
And thank you, members of the Board of County Commissioners, for allowing us to speak today. My name's Yvonne Almaraz. I'm the Southern Nevada Program Manager for Silver State Fair Housing Council. Our agency is a nonprofit agency with a mission to ensure equal housing opportunity for all residents of Nevada. We've had a close and productive relationship with Clark County for many years now in ensuring and affirmatively furthering fair housing in Clark County. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees and staff at Silver State Fair Housing Council, thank you for your continuing efforts in affirmatively furthering fair housing. Together, we can all be proud of the efforts that we've done and productivity in affirmatively furthering and ensuring equal housing opportunity for residents in Clark County. But we also have to continue to address those issues of legal discrimination that keep our residents of Clark County from having that housing and that equal opportunity in housing. And so together with Clark County, we look forward to continuing those efforts to affirmatively further fair housing, ensuring equal opportunity for residents in Clark County. And also we look forward to the day where we can all look at ourselves as individuals and neighbors and not as stereotypes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And on behalf of Clark County and the amazing partnership that we have serving everybody in Clark County, we want to recognize this month, along with you, as our partner as Fair Housing Month. So we appreciate all the work that you do, not only today, but every day throughout the year. So thank you very much, and hopefully you could pass the word how much we appreciate what you do with your organization. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioners, we do have a couple of additional proclamations. The first will be from Commissioner Sagerblum for the 10th anniversary of Adams Place.
Thank you. Yes, if Kelly would come down. This proclamation is to Adams Place, and we're celebrating their 10th anniversary. Kelly Boyer, who's the founder and the head of the program, this was born out of a true tragedy. Her son was a intern at the legislature back in 2007, died tragically in a car wreck. As a result of that, she discovered that there are no services, mental health services, for people, families, children who have someone close to them die. And so she created Adams Place just on her own strength. It's been fantastic. This is her 10th anniversary, celebrating it. They're alive and well and doing a fantastic job, but they also are still the only resource for kids in Clark County. So the school district refers people to them. They have lots of volunteers, but it's a fantastic program. And thank you so much, Kelly, for doing this.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. We're just humbled to be a part of the Mental Health and Wellness Initiative in Clark County. Our program is free of charge for the children from ages 5 to 18, and they can continue with us until they have their wings, or unless they need to come back for more support. We've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm almost positive we've helped children in every one of your districts. We're now
doing programs in the schools, alleviating transportation as a barrier to access. Our groups are diverse and gender neutral because our common thread is the human experience of loss. We've included the definition of loss to include divorce, deportation, incarceration, and I can tell you our school program is building empathy, which is the key factor to reducing bullying in schools. So we want to thank you for your continued support, and thank you for this recognition today.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Picture never happened.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gil.
And we have one last proclamation presented by Commissioner Weekly.
All right. Okay. Here we go. All right. This is the fun stuff right here. This school here has been deemed as one of the top schools, I would say, throughout the Clark County School District, and they are always up to something fantastic on behalf of the students there that attend. The 911 emergency call-in system is the community's lifeline to emergency services. When you need help from fire, police, and medical, our residents need to be able to call 911 and have an operator available to take those calls. Now, if people make inappropriate 911 calls, they could tie up an operator and delay the dispatch of life-saving fire, police, and medical services. To help educate the community about the appropriate use of the 911 system, the Clark County Fire Department teamed up with the 911 dispatch program at Veterans Tribute Career and Technical Academy and their instructor, Lori Hendrickson, for their fourth in a row on a special project. This is so awesome, man. This was a great event. 10 teams of students created videos to be played on social media, and we asked social media professionals with local news media outlets to help us find the top 3 videos from that group. And of course, man, the competition is just absolutely overwhelming. I didn't want to sit there this year again and judge these groups. And so, of course, our chair lady went, and she served as one of the, right, give it to someone else. She went over and served as a chair, as one of the judges, along with our fire chief. Is he here? Oh, duh. You had to grow a little bit there, Mr. Chief. Our fire chief, Greg Cassell, and the county's digital media specialist, Chris Erickson. Chris, where are you? Oh, he's out there taking pictures. Chris is one of the judges as well. And they picked a winning video. We're really excited about this, guys. Let's play that winning video, everybody. Direct your attentions to the screen. That's being shared with the county's media followers, the local news media, and the community at large. And in this way, we hope to better educate our residents about the proper use of 911. There you go. Big round of applause, everybody. I want our judges, before we present some proclamations, if you can share your thoughts on the competition this year.
Oh, yes, thank you. So this is the 4th year that we've partnered with VTCTA to have an impact on 911 calls that are not emergency calls, tying up our system. And every year it just keeps getting a little bit better. I'm not sure how the senior class next year is going to top what you did, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that plays out next year. But we have a great partnership with VTCTA, not only through the 911 dispatch center, but mentoring programs that we do through the county staff. Just a great school, great administrators, great students, and it's been a wonderful time.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the teacher, because any person that puts so much time into it, we had such a diverse choice to look at, and what was it that could relate. So there were some that I thought had amazing qualities. and I hope that in the future they go in that direction. But this one I thought stood out, and I could replay it for my constituents where they could see it and understand it very quickly. But I'll tell you, in today's world, the kids focus on social media, so they do things very quickly and they want to get the point across very fast. And so I look forward to next year because the kids were very excited to see each other's work. But it really does start at the top of leadership, the time and effort that you put into it. So the kids are lucky to have you. So thanks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, we're very happy to have our amazing teacher here. Ms. Lori, you are awesome. You do a great job over there at Veterans Tech, and we just want to give you a proclamation. How about if we start off with you first? Give Ms. Lori a round of applause, everybody. She's amazing. And as we get the other procs, I want you to just share a couple of your thoughts as well. You want me to hold that while you read your notes?
Sure, thank you. Hi, as the 911 instructor at Veterans Tribute Career and Technical Academy, I'm also a former dispatcher with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and the federal government. It's an honor to be here today during National 911 Telecommunicators Week and 911 Education Month to recognize the work of my students. Upon graduation, they will have been certified in police, fire, and medical call taking and dispatching, while also training in our state-of-the-art dispatch lab, which is also the largest in the nation. Besides learning how to process calls for service, they've also been working hard to educate the public about 911. I'd like to thank the Clark County Communications Department and the Fire Department for partnering with us again to get this message out. There's a quote that says, "Save one life and you're a hero, save 100 lives and you're a dispatcher." And that's true. And my students want to help ensure that our dispatchers are always available to answer our community's calls for help. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here today and to share this message of only using the numbers 911 for emergencies.
Thank you, Ms. Lori. Thank you. And today we have two of the three champs that are here. And Martin, we're going to start with you because you know what? These ladies are, last year I think it was a team of all women who won. And man, just to see the guys are stepping up and getting engaged. And thank you for representing the guys, Martin. All right? Okay, all right. And we also have Miss Ariana. How you doing? Congratulations to the both of you. Thank you very much for your work and thank you for your talents. And we appreciate you both. Have anything you want to share? Anything? 911 people do talk, right?
I just want to thank all of you for your time and the opportunity you've given us and just the recognition you've given our amazing program and our amazing teacher. Thank you all very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please give them another big, big, big round of applause. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Manager.
Okay, Commissioners, that concludes the Commissioners' recognition items. Okay, that's it, yes. Okay, we can now move to Section 6 of the agenda, which are the introduction of ordinances. Please note that this item is for introduction only, and the date and time will be set for, or there will be a public hearing set. Item number 77 is to introduce an ordinance to amend Clark County Titles 6 and 7 concerning the licensure of hospitals, urgent care centers, clinics, and laboratories, providing for licensure of hospitals, urgent medical centers, clinics, and laboratories, establishing requirements for medical facilities that offer or advertise emergency medical services, requiring certain medical facilities to be certified by CMS and accept payments from Medicare, Medicaid, providing for business license fees, providing for suspension, revocation, and non-renewal of business license for noncompliance and penalties, and set a public hearing. Staff recommends that a public hearing be scheduled for Tuesday, May 7th, 2019 at 10 a.m. Next, we can move to Section 7 of the agenda, which are your business items. Item number 78 is to identify emerging issues to be addressed by staff or by the board at future meetings, to receive updates on the activities in various regional boards and commissions, and direct staff accordingly.
Okay, we'll start with emerging issues. Anybody have any emerging issues that they want to talk about? Commissioner Knapp, we'll start with you and work our way down.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to take a minute to highlight a couple events that we've been having in a series of coffee and conversations. Started on Sunday, April 7th, and had 3 so far with Assemblywomen Cohen and Sandra Yeagery and Heidi Swank. And I've got 2 more coming up on Saturday, April 20th at 9 to 10:30 a.m. with Assemblywoman Melissa Hardy at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf on 10,604 Eastern Avenue, and Saturday, April 27th at 9 a.m. with Assemblyman Fumo at Grouchy John's Coffee on Maryland Parkway. I just want to invite all of our constituents out to discuss any issues on your mind and how we can better serve the community. I also want to flag one that I'm pleased to be co-hosting with my colleague Commissioner Jones on Wednesday, April 24th in the Enterprise Township at the Windmill Library starting at 6 p.m. I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones, have anything? Commissioner Sager-Blim, you have anything?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just want to point out 2 things. First, last week I was able to have a press conference at the Wetlands Park. I know Mr. Gibson's done this in the past, but to dramatize the Easter break and the fact that we want people to visit and enjoy the park, but not to have any bad things happen out there. And it was great to have all the participation there. And truthfully, I hadn't been to that park since I was a kid, so it really is a whole new place. It's not the old Wash that I remember. And I don't want people to go out there and do what I used to do in the Wash.
Okay.
And secondly, yesterday I had a press conference with code enforcement. It was very exciting to see that we're in a new phase as far as trying to punish landlords who are not keeping their property up to speed. And I just want to thank them so much for participating, and also say I want to support more code enforcement people, because I think if we doubled our staff, we could do twice as much. There's a lot of properties out there that need, and absentee landlords that need to be told this is unacceptable anymore in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, I had the opportunity to present the proclamation and keys to the Las Vegas Strip to the Backstreet Boys. That was a lot of fun. I see a lot of people who wish they'd have been able to be there with them. And it was a lot of fun. Their 2-year run has been a really good one for Las Vegas and for them. They performed about 80 shows to about 300,000 Backstreet Boys fans. They had the largest single in residence show ever in Las Vegas. A really successful run, and it is really the essence of what makes Las Vegas unique. The way that these incredible acts are booked, and the folks that follow them from all over the world. It was an exciting time. Yes, I did feel kind of old, but it was really a lot of fun for me. This Friday, April 19th, we'll have our annual Easter extravaganza with our partners Metro, Southeast Area Command, Stop Coalition, My Father's House, and Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's a free, family-friendly event at Whitney Park from noon until 3 o'clock. There will be an Easter egg hunt by age category, free train rides for the kids, food, music, and games. But egg hunters, and make note of this, egg hunters must register at the Whitney Rec Center. So make sure you make note of that. Parents, make sure you get your kids registered. Kids, make sure you tell your folks that you need to register. That's this Friday, April 19th, beginning at noon. And on Friday, April 26th, District G, Metro Southeast Area Command Stop Coalition, and Clark County Parks and Rec will be hosting our first spring movie night at Whitney Park. We'll be screening Incredibles 2, and you must visit the Whitney Community Center to pick up your tickets for free refreshments. So on both of these events, you have to go into the community center and make sure you've either registered for the extravaganza or you have gotten tickets so that you can eat the goodies at the movie night. We encourage the moviegoers to bring blankets and lawn chairs and to enjoy the movie. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Gibson. Commissioner Weekly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Want to once again thank my staff who worked with Zappos. We hosted our annual student leadership conference. We had over 350 high school students convene on Zappos for workshops and speakers, entrepreneurship, career paths, and just learning how to do you and branding. And it was just absolutely amazing to see so many wonderful students that we have here in Clark County that's stepping up to take on new challenges of life. And so thank you to Tony Shea and the entire Zappos family for welcoming us on their campus. Also, we were very blessed to help sponsor, working along with Pastor Kelsey West, sponsor some students to attend an HBCU college fair. These students, during their spring break right now as we speak, are in Atlanta, Georgia. They're touring Morehouse College, Spelman, Clark Atlanta, several of the HBCUs in the South. And then this Thursday, we're very honored to go out and help sponsor some young people who are going to go over to California and tour some of the West Coast schools. And so when people say that our students here in Clark County School District do not care about education, it's not the kids, it's the adults that don't invest enough. And for many kids who are out here selling hot dogs and car washes and doing all the best that they can to try and go and visit schools, I think that's what's wrong with our community here. We have great UNLV, we have Nevada State College, we have CSN, but exposure is the key. Give our kids an opportunity to see something different and to see that there are choices out there. And so thank you to everyone who is stepping up and helping these kids see a brighter future. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank our chairwoman. This lady here is busy as all outdoors, saving the world and doing what she can. But I want to thank Commissioner Kirkpatrick. I know on social media, the Eastsiders have been speaking about a pedestrian bridge that's inundated with our homeless community. And so I know, Commissioner, you went out and helped get some people together to go and address many of those men and women. And I think some of the issues that we were dealing with were off of, I believe it was Sahara, but it's kind of leading into Lamb and Nellis, kind of leading over into my district. And some of those pedestrian bridges that Clark County built, people are now living in those bridges, and they've taken mattresses and sofa pads, anything that they could find to create a home. And so these are things that we're dealing with throughout Clark County, and I want to thank Manager King and the team for just really helping to work with our code enforcement team to provide resources and help many of those men and women. And the sad part about it is some of those encampments have children and animals. And so, guys, we as a community, we got to do better. We got to step up, and we're in this room. I'm blessed, and I'm so grateful to see another year, but many of us can leave this facility here today, and we can go to a place with a roof over our heads, and we drive past these overpaths, and we don't even pay attention to see that there are people out there struggling who don't have anywhere to go. And so thank you, Commissioner Kirkpatrick, for stepping up on social media. I read that, and the Eastsiders, thank you for being eyes and ears out in our community and keeping us on our toes. Speaking of Easter events, thank you to the staff at the Pearson Community Center. Thank you to my staff over at the Walnut Center. I'm having some amazing extravaganzas for kids and providing some safe activities. We have some safe camps going on over in the neighborhood. It's driving me crazy. And so thank you to the staff. Also, we partnered this past weekend with the Nevada Division of Housing. We hosted a home buyers fair for first-time buyers out there interested in making their home ownership become a reality. That worked out really well for us as well. So those are some emerging issues I had, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Weekly. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Forgot we're actually off for 2 weeks. So we do have a very exciting Good Springs Trail grand opening. This is out in Good Springs. It's a beautiful place if you've never been there before. Visit the Pioneer Saloon and open a new trail, 2.2 mile loop. This has been a project which I will not take any credit for. It was my predecessor and many others who have spent a lot of time making it happen. But coming out and join us on Saturday, May 4th from 9 to 11 a.m. out in Good Springs. And also just want to give a shout out to the Desert Breeze Parks and Rec folks for putting on a fantastic egg run this last Saturday.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. So I have a few things. One, first and foremost, I want to remind everybody about the Clark County Family Fest. That is our very own Clark County picnic. If you haven't been out there, at Clark County, we have families too, so it's a nice opportunity for us to get out there and to have fun with our families. So if you haven't signed up, please sign up. I would like to just give a shout out to Parks and Rec as a whole, because Parks and Rec has a lot of events, starting with Easter and going all the way through the summer, and they do amazing work. I know our Easter egg hunt as well as our pancake breakfast, we had over 700 kids, which in the past we've had 100, so we must be on the right track, but it's always nice to see them do well. I want to see with the board if next agenda meeting, I'd like to talk about opportunity zones. So we have 16 opportunity zones within Clark County. I worked with staff probably a year ago when the governor's office was putting together the opportunity zones. So I know that each commissioner has 2 within their district, and I'd like to bring the state in to do a presentation on those and to figure out with our staff how we can start moving forward. There is a conference here on May 10th, which I'll be speaking at with all of the mayors. So we're trying to host a meeting next week with all of the elected so that we talk in one voice on the importance of utilizing those opportunity zones within our community as a whole. So if the board's okay with that, we'll put a presentation on the next agenda item. Okay. Then secondly, so I believe that for some of us, we're here when we put in the bullying ordinance. I would like to revisit that especially on the supervisor level, to ensure it's been a year, so we could get a report of all of the complaints we had to make sure that it's working. And on the supervisor level, we want to ensure that the supervisors are able to do their job, and that not everything. So I'd like to look at that as well on the next meeting. And then lastly, April 24th, across Clark County, we're going to have Denim Day to support abuse awareness in our community, and I would like to see as many people as possible. We have 10,000 employees, 7 commissioners, maybe wear denim to show some unity across Clark County about abuse awareness. So with that, seeing no other emerging issues, I'll turn it back over to Ms. King.
The next item we have is item number 79, which is to receive an update from staff on the 2019 legislative session and take any action deemed appropriate. Commissioners, you may or may not know that there was a deadline this past Friday on April 12th, and it was the deadline for bills to pass out of committee. There is an additional deadline on April 23rd, which all bills must be passed out of the House of Origin. And that is on April 23rd, and so there may be additional bills that fail to meet that deadline. You have a tracking report that was sent to you yesterday. On that particular tracking report, last week we had about 86 bills that were included as part of what we are tracking, and 30 of the 86 failed to meet the April 12th deadline, which was to pass out of committee. So there should be about 56 bills remaining for us to track. In addition to that, the report you did receive a report that lists a number of bills that are of concern for the county. We had initially about 14 bills that we were tracking that are of concern, where our position is in opposition of those bills, and 7 of the 14 have failed, and so there remains an additional 7. I do need to bring to your attention on that opposition report, there are 2 bills that we do need to add to that as a result of trying to work back and forth with the legislature and adding amendments. There were amendments that were not accepted as part of the committee passage, and so therefore the county is still in opposition. Those 2 bills are AB 492 and SB 215. Those are worker compensation bills that have a significant impact on the county. Also want to bring to your attention that tomorrow in the Assembly Government Affairs Committee, SB 127, which is the bill that increases the number of Board of County Commissioners. You all may recall at the last meeting that the board did take a position to oppose that bill. So staff will go to the table tomorrow in opposition of the bill and note for the record again the fiscal impact on that particular bill. So that is at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow in Assembly Government Affairs. On Friday, the bill I can't think of the number right now, but the bill that would allow county governments or local governments to create a nonprofit organization during times of emergency, that also will be heard by the Assembly Government Affairs on Friday. Let's see, other than that, really quickly, I wanted to also bring to your attention, yesterday I did send you all an email outlining the Senate Joint Resolution, SJR 14. There is a report that is out and a presentation that will be provided, I believe, either at the end of this month or sometime next month. But just wanted to bring to your attention, there was an analysis that was completed by Applied Analysis, which essentially would look at what the revenue, positive revenue impact would be to the county as a result of SJR 14. And essentially what SJR 14 will do is, upon the sale of a property, it will reset the depreciation factor, and also it will reset the partial property tax abatements on that property. In addition to that, AGR 14 allows for persons who are age 62 or older, or a person with a disability to receive a refund of their taxes, and it's my understanding that the refunds will be based on income. So those are really the main three components of SJR 14, and wanted to bring that to your attention. There is a summary presentation of what the analysis includes. It does look at the revenue that is anticipated over a 10-year period to be collected. And again, it's an estimate of what that looks like. So if you all please can take a look at that, and at some point in time we'll need to discuss really what the board's position may or may not be on that particular bill. So those are all the comments that I have with regard to the legislative session.
Okay, does anybody have any comments or questions? Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank the county manager for your efforts and the efforts of the legislative team. I know I and others had raised some issues the last time around, and I appreciate the new reports, the new formatting, and just generally keeping us very up to speed as to the many deadlines and bills that have come up the last 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Is anybody else? Yolanda, that report, I started reading it last night. It's 377 pages. I'm like, holy smokes. And the summary is even several pages. So at some point I do, because it does go to the ballot, if it even gets a hearing, right?
My apologies. I failed to mention the process. So with SJR 14, what will be required, and if it passes, is it will require a vote of the legislature twice. And so the first time it was passed by the legislature in 2017. And then if it does receive a hearing for this legislative cycle and it passes through the legislature, it will go to a vote of the people in the 2020 election. So it'll have to be passed twice by the legislature and also go to the vote of the people. And if that is successful, then the changes would be implemented into law. And really, essentially, what this would do is it is going to amend the Constitution, and it revises provisions relating to the assessment and the taxation of property which is sold or transferred. And so hence the reason why you've got to go a couple times to the legislature as well as to the vote of the people, because it is a constitutional change. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Aguayo, who put the report together, because I have some questions on how it actually works. So if the board doesn't mind, I'll send them all your way. But we do have a stake in it because there could be some unintended consequences, and I don't know if that's a follow-up bill, so I want to reach out to the person who put it together to see what the thought process, at least for me, on that. Okay.
Okay, next item is item number 80, which is to approve and adopt as though an emergency exists and authorize the chair to sign an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the airport system subordinate lien refunding revenue bonds, Series 2019A, and airport systems revenue bonds, Senior Series 2019B, and approve the execution and delivery of related documents and provide for other matters properly related thereto.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Joe Prokowski, Airport Chief Financial Officer, and the item before you is to approve the issuance of the 2019A bonds to refund $168.5 million of the Series 2009C airport bonds, and then also the issuance of the 2019B bonds to refund $300 million of the Series 2009B airport bonds, and the execution and delivery of all the related documents. These refundings are for savings, and the bonds will be repaid with airport revenues. And we've worked with the airport's bond counsel and financial advisors on the related documents.
Okay, does that complete your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to move to introduce the ordinance. If the clerk can read the ordinance by title.
An ordinance relating to the county airport facilities for Clark County, Nevada, authorizing the issuance by the county of its airport system subordinate lien refunding revenue bonds, Series 2019A, and its airport system revenue bonds, Senior Series 2019B, approving certain documents and other matters related thereto, declaring that this ordinance pertains to the sale, issuance, and payment of bonds and adopting it as if an emergency now exists, and providing the effective date hereof.
Thank you. Commissioner Gibson?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move for adoption of the ordinance as if an emergency exists.
Okay, Commissioner Gibson has moved for the adoption. Any further comments or questions? And just so the public remembers, we had a public hearing on this last time, so this is the final piece. Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 81 has been deleted. Next, we can go to item 82, which is to receive a presentation from the United States Census Bureau and approve, adopt, and authorize the chair to sign the resolution in support of the 2020 United States Census.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Edgar Ramos with the U.S. Census. Okay, so this presentation is the Road to 2020. Do I change it? It's like, where do I point? Oops. Here you go. So we do at the 2020 census, as you know, we count everyone once, only once, and in the right place. Why we take the census is mandated by the Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. The census has been taken every decennial since 1790. The count includes the U.S. and its territories, and it's used to apportion seats in the U.S. House of Representatives. Why does the 2020 census matter? Political representation and redistricting, very important. And the funding, approximately $675 billion distributed annually nationwide. This is a study of the George Washington University, accounting by dollars. Those are the top 16 programs that benefit from federal funding in Nevada. And as you can see, I noted in red, and Nevada loses around $1,600 for each person that doesn't get counted. So we need everyone counted in our state. One of the biggest issues is confidentiality. Under Title 13 and Title 26 of the U.S. Code, we take an oath of confidentiality, the census workers. We have data stewardship, and no information is released to any government agency or entity. That's one thing that we need to really stress in communities. Like I got hired to work with the Latino community And I know that they have a lot of these questions, these issues. They don't trust the census because they're afraid that their information is going to go to another entity of the government. Okay. The new ability to self-respond this decennial is going to be next year, starting on the 23rd of March to 2020, and it's the first time that it's going to go that we're going to be able to do it online, and then by phone for those that don't feel comfortable using a computer, and the paper form as well. If you request a paper form, we can go ahead and send you the paper form, and it's also going to be available in different languages, 12 non-English languages to help the communities out there. Spanish, Chinese, simplified, Vietnamese, Korean, Russian, Arabic, Tagalog, Polish, French, Haitian, Creole, Portuguese, and Japanese. Who are the hard count populations? The hard count population are minorities, children under 5, believe it or not, tribal members, LGBTQ members, undocumented immigrants, people with disabilities, homeless, African American men between 18 to 24, and rural communities. So we are already engaging into partnerships with a lot of organizations that are going to help us reach out to these specific communities. On census.gov, there is an interactive map. It is called a ROAM, Response Outreach Area Mapper. When you go and use it, you can enter your code, your zip code, or the city, and it'll give you all the information about the area. If we zoom in into our area, you can see the deep blue is undercount population. So it is mainly North Las Vegas and East Las Vegas where we need to count those people. Most of these people are people that need the funds, the low-income people. And that's why we need to get to them and convince them that they need to get counted. Coming up in July 2019, we're going to be opening 2 offices here in Nevada. Both of them, they're going to be here in our area, one in Las Vegas and the other one in North Las Vegas. So the good thing about this is that we're going to be recruiting a lot of people, which we already started recruiting people. I'm a partnership specialist. We are hiring around 7 more around the state. And also, we're going to be hiring the enumerators and canvassers and all the management staff for the office. What we are promoting is the Community Partnership and Engagement Program, or CPEP. What we do, we enroll community partners to increase participation in the 2020 census of those who are less likely to respond or are often missed. We educate people about the 2020 census and foster cooperation with enumerators. We encourage the community partners to motivate people to self-respond. It's very important. And engage grassroots organizations to reach out to hard-count groups and those who are motivated to respond to the national campaign. We are creating a lot of complete count committees. The Clark County is creating one as well, and we thank you. What they do, they're experts in government, education, media, community organizations, businesses, workforce development, faith-based community, and service providers. So it's a whole committee that gets together and we promote the census and so that we can manage our way to reach out to all this undercounted population. The key dates for the census right now, we are in 2019. So we're about to open the field offices, and the complete count committees are being established. Next year, the advertising begins in early 2020. The self-response begins on the 23rd of March, and census date is April 1st, 2020. The non-response follow-up, it's from early April until late July, which is when they don't respond, that's when we go and knock on the door. So the appointment counts to the president would be on December 31st, 2020. And redistricting counts to the states, it's on March 31st, 2021. And that concludes my presentation.
Well, I have several questions, but I'm going to see if the board has any questions. No? Okay. Commissioner Naft, go ahead. No, I have lots of questions.
Oh.
So you might have had a 5-page PowerPoint. I got 50 pages of questions.
Oh,
So-
well. I have my also Ariadna in case I get stuck. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just hoping you could speak a little bit more to, first of all, the census is so important. I think everybody in this room probably knows that. But what isn't clear is how we do a better job and how we can be helpful communicating to our constituents, making sure the word goes out of how vital it is to the future of our state and our county. The funds you listed in your first slide clearly emphasize that, but how do we help serve our community and help make sure we're getting that message out?
The best way to do it is reaching out to the undercount population, make sure that everyone gets counted so that the state can get a complete count of everyone. That way, you know, we can go ahead and get the correct funding for the state, and that can help us, you know, with decisions of like road constructions and everything that, you know, it's hospitals and schools.
Okay.
All that stuff.
Anything more tangible that we could do? I know you're opening the 2 offices down south. Will there be things we can drive people to, or what? Anything a little bit more tangible than that that we can really help communicate with?
How can they be more tangible in their effort to help us?
That's a good question.
So let's do this.
Yes.
Sorry, my name is Ari Madeki. I'm also one of the partnership specialists working out in Las Vegas. Some of the things you can do is continue to let your constituents know about the upcoming census. Let us know if there's any events that we can be present at so that we can answer questions, so that we can educate the public, especially as he had mentioned, the hard-to-count populations. Children under 5 is a huge undercounted population here in Las Vegas due to issues of split custody. Oftentimes parents don't realize that they need to actually include their children, and so the direct funding from the census, from the results of the census, go to social service agencies that work with children under 5. So anything that you can do, and we are certainly open to your suggestions and ideas of things that you think might be helpful for us to get the word out, to educate, and we are available to go to different organizations ourselves and present and answer questions that they have, because obviously working with these different partnerships that you guys may know of that are specifically connected to these populations can help us get the word out and help us get them educated and get them on board and hopefully gain some confidence, because there is a lot of concern from a lot of these populations in terms of their information and how it's used. So we want to put those fears aside so that we get an accurate count. Does that answer your question? Does that help? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions? So can you go back to that time frame? So first and foremost, so the federal government gave the state some money. So how's that money being allocated? And I know there's a statewide committee on the census, but how's that money being allocated? Are you aware? 'Cause it seems, I mean, it just seems a little bit vague out there, and $5 million is a small amount in the grand scheme of things for the whole state, but so we have to use it wisely.
We have created, or the state has created, a statewide complete count committee, and it just got announced last week about this. And here in Clark County, Andy Powell and Richard Wasmuth, they're the ones that started the complete count committee. How they're going to use that money, I know it's going to, part of it is going to go in advertising, but I'm not completely sure exactly, you know, how, you know, it's like, I don't.
They don't give us the exact breakdown. We know that part of it will be used for advertising, part of it will be used for the local offices that are going to be set up, part of it obviously for different employees to get out there and actually put the word out there in terms of getting people on board.
So it just seems that in the past, the Southern Nevada Regional Planning Commissioner Jones is the ones that kind of coordinated the census thing. So I wouldn't want that board. Commissioner Jones sits on, Commissioner Sigerbloom sits on, at least to be part of that conversation, because in the past, that's how the census, you have all the elected officials and the agencies that can help drive it. So, and then on the state level, is it going through, I know the governor did it, did he do it with the Secretary of State, or who would we reach out? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and I know that NACO has a representative as well, so I'll see if Dagny can get us some information as well. So how is this timeline picked? It troubles me, and I'm going to tell you why. Because In 2020, in April, it's a presidential year, for one, so you're going to have 1.5 million people campaigning, as well as electeds, and people stop opening their door. So that is before the primary, so you have like a small 2-week window, and then the summertime, they're for sure not out answering their door, which concerns me that we won't even get the opportunity because there will be so many people out their door. So how is that time frame picked?
How they picked it, they picked it in the, at the regional office in LA, in Los Angeles, and that's how they gave us.
This is actually one of the first times that there will be coinciding with a presidential election. So it will be interesting to see. We obviously have not done that before, dealt with that before, so we're not sure how that's going to work. The ideal is that people will have responded because of the use of the internet, et cetera, before this even happens, so we won't have to go out to as many people. They want to give as many options. It doesn't mean they're not going to, but there's trying to give every option possible so that people have the opportunity to do it on their own, whether it's via internet, whether it's via telephone. So to obviously make it efficient in cost and hopefully get more people to respond on their own.
And that's my point, right? Because I'm not filling it out on the internet. I want to do the paper myself because in today's environment, we work pretty hard to tell people what are scams and what are not. Yes. Because you don't want giving out all that information. So it just troubles me that we picked an odd time. I would have rather started in February through April to get more people. Right. Because now you're in the thick of the election cycle. Yes. And I can tell you, to walk 22,000 houses myself, I did. It took me 5 months, right, to actually get people to actually answer the door. So, and now you're going to add everything else on top of it. It's such an important opportunity for us to get funding to actually serve these folks. I represent North Las Vegas along with Commissioner Weekly. So I hope that people don't wait till April because you're going to miss your opportunity.
Exactly. And we hope so too. And we're hoping that starting earlier on in terms of education and letting them know will help with that too. But we do realize that it might be a challenge in terms of the time
I mean, here's what I can tell you about those dates. So one, you're a month from school getting out. So our highest transient rate in the east side and North Las Vegas are when school ends. And when school starts in January. So we know, so now you're going to be trying to chase people as they've moved. That's the time that they pick to move. So you're doing it 1 month before school gets out. Who is on that committee? I mean, Los Angeles determined it for Nevada, but they don't necessarily understand how we do things. So I would just hope that, being that we don't know how the $5 million is going to be spent, being that we know that there's a committee, means that we know it is over half of our federal funding formula, that we at least stay in contact to Commissioner Knapp's point. We need to start talking about it today, but we need to have something we can put in front of people and say, you know what, here's what you might see, here's a website that you might see. We need that stuff tomorrow, right? Because in my mind, we need to start educating people so that they're aware, because what I'll tell you is going to happen is the first time the website goes out, somebody else is going to create one, that then they're going to be some confusion. So I now tell people in my constituents to read the email that it came from so they know. So I hope that someone's having all of those conversations. It seems we got to do some work to educate people. I mean, I would feel nervous. I'm not going to lie, filling it out on the internet, and I'm surely not doing it on the phone.
Yeah, that's why the Bureau is focusing a lot on the online so that we can, communicate and have them go online and fill out the census first. They're going to get an invitation via mail, it's a mailer, and to invite them to go online and fill out the census. Since that's how it's going to work. So we really want to stress that out, that they can do it online or over the phone.
But we do recognize there's people, like you said, who are not going to be willing to do it online. And there's nothing that we can do for that, so we will have to have people out in the field actually getting that information.
Absolutely.
So that will be a challenge, and we know that there's people that will not be on board with it.
When it comes to the promotion and competing against the presidential election year, I know that the Census Bureau is allocating money for advertising because they know that they will need it. They will need to invest in advertising. So.
Well, I'm just going to say that if you send a postcard like the last census, when I got it on the same day that I got all the grocery ads, it probably ended up in the trash before I realized that it came. And I'm telling you that there's going to be 100 flyers that come and people stop looking at them. So the sooner that you can at least get me information so that we can disperse it on what people should start looking for and some talking points on what they should expect will be helpful because, like I said, there's a lot of negatives in the time frame, in my personal opinion, and I represent North Las Vegas and East Side along with this whole side here. So, and if those are the numbers that you're wanting, you know, I'm thinking you should be at every Cinco de Mayo event. You should be at every other thing that's going on because you got to get real time. But we got to know how to tell them and start advertising it now.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Commissioner Gibson.
You mentioned the homeless population. We just conducted a homeless count. How is it, if you're not going to do something like what Clark County just did, how is it you're going to reach the homeless population? Because that is a population that, for which there are limited resources, and if there were a population that needed a commitment of significant resources, it's that group of people. What are you going to do? What can we do to help with that?
Yeah, what the Census Bureau does, they select a day for the homeless to get counted, and when they do it overnight, on one night, to count them where they sleep. And we get help from the shelters and any organizations that work with homeless people.
We're already reaching out to the shelters to let them know about this. And
Speak into that microphone if you would. So we want the people on who watch television to hear everything you're saying.
So we have reached out to the shelters. That's one of our jobs as the partnership specialist, to reach out to shelters to let them know about the census and let them know that and again, to try to get their help in terms of completing the census, but there will be a day that has been designated that they will go out, that we will have people from the census go out and actually count the individuals in the areas that we know, such as that Commissioner Wigley mentioned, in terms of living, that are considered their living quarters, so that we do get as accurate as count we can for the homeless population.
So it'll not be as critical then that they individually respond, so that the data you get, the data field is completely filled out? Or how do you do that? You engage them? You can't look at them and say, 30 to 40, 50 to 60. You can't do that. So how on earth do you get that data field filled out?
Yeah, that's one thing, with the homeless population, we just count the bodies. We don't really approach
just
them.
a head count.
Yes, it's a head count.
And then we use a methodology that I really don't know about. I was there when we went through training, and I was out in the field when we did the count. But the way there's a formula that we use, for a tent that is occupied, for a car that is obviously occupied. Do you use the same methods? Do we know that, or do you even know what we do? And maybe it makes sense for us to at least discuss that with you, because this is one where we need all the help we can get to be accurate.
Yeah, we would like that information. And additionally, one of the goals of the complete count committees and having individuals that have a kind of are enmeshed in the community is to also give feedback for our next census. So what has and has not worked, the opinions in terms of what you have seen that's been successful, Commissioner Kirkpatrick's concerns about the timeline, things like that. They're open to hear those things, and they want to hear from people in the community what has and has not worked, so that moving forward they can implement those things to have a more successful and a more accurate census.
Commissioner Weekly.
Thank you. Speaking of the homeless, are we having any type of coordinated efforts with the the Homeless Coalition, the Continuum of Care Committee, or any of those folks who are already doing the work? Because it seems to me it may be a bit redundant. If the data is there and they've already gone out and have conducted a count, I know that for this last count, the information has not been 100% compiled and released to the public, but they do have it. How far off, looking at your timeline, do you believe it would be that you couldn't use their data to save some of that time and some of those resources, or just even collaborate with them because they already have a team in place?
You want to answer that? We would certainly be open to collaboration. They do have to do the census. Does have to do their own count, though. It has to be their numbers, so that when they present it to the president, they can't say that it was from anything else but from their actual count that they completed themselves.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
obviously, any organization or any individuals that are part of that you had just mentioned, we would be open to speaking with and getting their cooperation and hearing their input in terms of, again, things that may or may not work.
I guess the other part of that question would be, opposed to you saying they would have to do the census, what's the I guess, what would be your thoughts on your team that's already established that would be able to team up with this established group already? I mean, being that they already have the formula, being that they already know how this is done when they go out and conduct the actual count.
Yeah, and we're here. We're already meeting up with organizations like that, and that's what we're here for. So if we haven't met with them, we would love to do so eventually, because there's a lot of organizations that we still need to reach out to, and that's why we're going to hire more people like us, partnership specialists, so that we can go ahead and cover the entire state.
Sure.
So yes, I would love to get that information so that we can get in touch with them and talk to them and see how we can team up and partner.
Sure. And then lastly, Madam Chair, really quick, please. Lastly, I had an opportunity to participate on the conference call that the governor conducted in reference to this particular issue here. And there were a lot of concerns that came statewide as it relates to the count. The diversity, number one. I heard Commissioner Kirkpatrick reference Cinco de Mayo and some of the Latino groups, but there are other ethnic groups out there too that we've not heard. What's your strategy in terms of making sure that they're counted as well? We're making sure that they even understand the process. A lot of people kind of shy away from participating in the census, but we do know how important it is as it relates to funding coming back to our state. What are we doing to diversify and how as it relates to that outreach?
Yeah, the census, the Bureau is hiring the partnership specialist specifically to work with certain communities. Like myself, I got hired to work with the Latino community, as well as Ariadna, but Ariadna also covers African American, and we have other partnership specialists that cover the African American and the Asian and Filipino as well. And they will be hiring more partnership specialists to reach out to those communities, as well as Native Americans.
We have individuals who speak Tagalog who are reaching out to those. So we want, obviously, if there's a language barrier or we're concerned that there's a language issue, there are partnership specialists that are being hired to address that. Again, if there is a population that you still feel is not being addressed or is perhaps being under-addressed, we would really appreciate your input on that so that we know that that is being addressed. If it may already be being addressed, but we want to make sure that it is.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys look at people and recruit people that know the landscape of the community. Not bring in a bunch of out-of-state folks who don't have a clue about the neighborhood. They're getting paid. Hold on. They're getting paid, but they're not familiar with the community. You have to have people that communities can relate to, that people know, so that they feel safe. That as they're putting information out there and they're disclosing what they feel is their personal life's information, that they can look at someone that they know and that they're familiar with, not someone that you guys will bring in from out of state who will come in and point fingers and giving directions, but they don't have a clue. If we say go north on Charleston and turn, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Know where you're going and know who you're talking to.
And when we were hired, We were actually hired. We are all in-state people. We are not any partnership specialist throughout the country has to be a specialist and live in their area. And we are all specialists in our different populations that we were assigned. I have a social services background, so I deal with families with children under 5. He's a media specialist. We are both Spanish speakers, and we both live, work, breathe in Vegas. That was very important. There were people who applied out of state for positions within different states, and they will not hire. You have to have knowledge and live in the area that you're working as a partnership specialist.
So I'm going to be a little more direct than Commissioner Weekly because it's his birthday and he's being polite.
Okay.
So you need to hire people that look and are a part of the community that you're trying to get the information out. So when and loyalty is a big deal, right? And we're trying to talk to folks that, aren't good at filling out the information because there's a trust factor. So if it's an African American community, I'll expect, and the commissioners should expect, that African Americans from that area will be the ones at the door saying, hey, Susan, you didn't fill this out today. I need you to do this. This is really important to our community. That's what we'd like to see. What I hear today, and I'm feeling frustrated, so I hope there's a lot more questions, is that we're expected to be available, but we don't know your plan, right? So you want to meet with all these different groups. And for me, I am concerned about the whole state, but first and foremost, I'm concerned about Clark County, because if Clark County is the wheel that turns the whole state, right? So if we don't do well, the rest of the state won't even be on the map. So I was expecting you to come here and tell me a plan. Here's what we're doing. We're going to reach out to these 10 groups. Here's where we're struggling to reach out to folks on these groups, because you can't go hire anybody if we don't know what the plan is, because we can't help you. And I'm not scrambling. So I have this saying in my office, don't make your lack of planning my emergency. Because there's a time frame, right, on how we do this. I'm asking, how is the money going to be spent? All of that information is huge. We can't put anything in our newsletters today because we don't know what the expectation is. We have 38 departments within our county, and there's an expectation. How do you want them to help? Because they wouldn't even know where to start, right? Should we be working with HIMS data so that we can see if as they're coming through, have they filled out the census? I mean, so you guys have some work to do with me in particular, because you specifically spoke about the area of concern that I represent a good portion of, as well as Commissioner Weekly. And we expect, and hear what I'm saying, expect, right? So there's no wiggle room, that people be hired of like communities that they're in. Because if you want to build the trust and the loyalty, there's an expectation. Just because I can speak 5 languages doesn't mean when I knock on the door that person's going to relate with me, right? And just because I have a neighbor who's Italian, and if you went to her door, she wouldn't know what to do with you because you couldn't communicate. So we want to help you, but we need a plan. Okay. On what you're looking for in your time frame, and even when you're hiring, because we all know people within our community that are activists that people look to. We want to help that. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My district is a little different than some of the others. Mine is the largest of all the districts in terms of population, and it is also the fastest growing. How are you going to account for the fact that they build houses on a daily basis in my district? So is it a point in time that you're focusing on? What, in terms of the time frames, what's sort of the cutoff?
Where's the cutoff for?
For the count.
I'm not sure about that.
Do you mean of the new housing projects or the individuals that are there?
I'm looking at your dates here. I'm trying to understand if they go around a neighborhood and they count once and then they build 50 houses the next month.
Oh, so you're talking about
do they go back around, or what's sort of the cutoff date?
Like right now, we have the canvassers going to search those addresses to make sure that there's someone living there.
No. Let me stop you. I'm going to help you. So and I feel like you got some work to do before you come back. So we're pretty entrenched in our districts. Your calendar says the non-response people follow-up is from April to July. So if a housing development comes online July 30th, are they assumed to be counted? Because we have people moving in-state, not necessarily moving around the state. Or is the deadline, when is the last day to fill out the census?
July 31st.
Okay.
Okay. And can you clarify on your timeline, there's a date for the apportionment counts and then a separate date for redistricting counts. Again, the redistricting counts mean a lot to my district because it is, again, the largest district, and it's going to get moved around when we all switch around our boundaries here. So is there a different time frame for the apportionment count and the redistricting count?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Not that we're aware of.
So the same data that will be provided to the president on December 31st will be provided to the state on March 31st?
March 31st, yes.
Okay, so if additional homes, additional people move into my district,
yes,
then they're not, it's July 31st
Correct.
is
Yes.
the date.
Yes.
All right. I'm happy to help. I have lots of gated neighborhoods, which make it very difficult for you or anybody else to get into them. So please reach out to me. We know these districts very well because we've been knocking the doors in them for years and years and years. So call us.
Okay. And this is great feedback. Trust me.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Commissioner Gibson.
After the last census, there was I don't know what you call the meeting, but there was an evaluation meeting that was conducted afterwards. And there were issues. They were publicly discussed, right? There was media reporting on all of it. Is that something you have access to? Have you looked at the tabletop meeting that was conducted at the end of the census effort 10 years ago?
The regional office, the LA regional office, has looked at it. They don't provide it to us specifically, but they have looked at it because they want to also, again, as I said, do this moving forward for this round to get the input of what did and did not work or what might be better put to use for the next census. So
I just wonder if having it might be useful because there are specifics in this valley that they probably are more intense today.
Yes.
And the valley has got a different face today than it had 10 years ago, but it would be a productive thing to try and get a hold of that.
Yes.
So let me ask this because I want to wrap it up. So when can we expect that you'll have a plan that we can kind of have you back to go over it? Because what we have today is very short of information that I'm willing to share with my constituents because it will cost me more time trying to answer questions I don't have the answers to. So when can we expect that you'll come back with better information and a better plan of us moving forward?
Whenever the next meeting is, yeah.
Yeah, whenever when's your next meeting?
You won't be ready, I promise you.
No.
I am not about rushing it to get half the information. If you want us to help you as an agency, you gotta. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna sit down with you on what the expectations are to help my county folks because we are super busy and we don't have time to be going back and forth. That's not how we roll on the county. So we do it once and we do it right. And we do it thorough. So I'm going to call you, set up a meeting on what my expectations are for my county employees who want to help, and then what the commissioner's expectations are on how they can help. So I'll call you, and then we'll get you back on the agenda, but you need to go do a lot of homework in between because I said I have 50 pages of questions, but I don't feel we're going to get the answers today, so I'm going to save you some time. So go back and get more information, and then we'll sit down with you. So if you could, Katie, can you get their information for me? Okay, perfect. All right.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yolanda.
Commissioners, it is now past 10 a.m. We will need to go to Section 5 of your agenda, which are your public hearing items. Item 72 is to conduct a public hearing to review the project recommendations from the Community Development Advisory Committee and select projects for inclusion in the Clark County's application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and to the State of Nevada's Housing Division for the total approximate amount of $10,448,452 in fiscal year 2019-2020 for home lift program monies, program income, and prior year funds for reallocation, and authorize staff to prepare and submit the applications per HUD and the State of Nevada deadlines and requirements, and authorize the county manager or her designee to execute any necessary agreements. Kristen?
Good morning. Go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kristen Cooper with Clark County Social Service, and the Community Development Advisory Committee met in January, February, and March to hear presentations from the applicants for home investment partnerships and low-income housing trust fund monies that we received from the federal government, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and the State of Nevada Housing Division. And Ms. Lois Green is here. She is the chairperson of the committee, and she would like to, yes, she's awesome. She would like to let you know more about the home projects.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Cooper. And Ms. Green, go ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lois Green, 7713 Himalayas Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89128. I greet you on behalf of the 41 professionals, retired and yet working, yet dedicated to this community. 41 people in the community have met after hours, on weekends, and through the week to be able to bring these recommendations to you to the best of our ability, and definitely in a spirit of excellence. So the one thing that I would like to, if there's any CDAC members behind me, I would like them to stand. If not, I've sat on this committee, I have participated wholeheartedly, and I stand and represent all of these other individuals who are not able to come because they are working or on travel. So this year will be my last year as the chair, and I thought it would be good for the committee to be able to express themselves to you in person. They were not able to come, so we have a picture. And this is the CDAC committee. You will recognize them because you appointed them. And so, oh, we have Bill, okay, who probably traveled very far to get here today. So this is the committee that I stand to represent right now to bring you our recommendations from CDAC. All right, there were 5 projects being recommended by CDAC. 3 affordable housing senior projects, which will create 266 new units, 1 116-unit low-income family apartments, and 1 rehabilitation and preservation of a 39-unit rural housing development. The total home lift discretionary project funds recommended is $4,070,000. There are also non-discretionary projects: tenant-based rental assistance, CHOTA reserve, administration, consortium, and off-cycle initiatives, which is private activity bonds, BLM, and permanent supportive housing, $3,977,926, and the non-discretionary total is $6,378,452. So the grand total for 2019 and 2020 for home lift recommendation is $10,448,052. All of the individual projects for you are listed on an additional page. Staff is with me today to answer any difficult questions that you might have.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Is that complete, the lady's presentation? This is a public hearing, so I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And I first and foremost want to thank the entire committee because you have a hard job to do. There's always way more requests than dollars available. So I appreciate that, and I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Weekly.
Thank you so much. And Chairwoman Green, I want to thank you for your service. You've been on this committee for a long time, and we just appreciate just the service that you provide. You're phenomenal in the community, and we just thank you for your years of service and all that you do. I know over the years I've given this committee a really hard time because I'm always looking for projects in my district, and I'm just trying to figure out ways for us to be able to make some of the cuts. And so I'm not sure if, in fact, I hate to hear you're not going to be chair again, but I understand. I know exactly where you're going with this in terms of passing the torch on to one of the younger committee members, one of the newer, should I say, committee members who are, did I say that right? Newer.
I don't know, you're in dangerous territory.
Newer Chairwoman Green, all right? Committee members who are coming on and learning the process, and I would just hope that they don't just sit and look at maps, that they get in vehicles and they drive out and go and see neighborhoods that are deserving and are in need of more housing, and infused with some life.
Yes.
And so that's been my biggest concern over the years. Madam Chair, I'm not sure if there are any other questions or comments.
I think Commissioner Jones had one.
And then I'll come back and make a motion.
Okay. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, and I'm new to the commission, so I guess I'm just had some questions as to how this interrelates with our zoning process. 2 of the projects are located in District F. With regards to number 5, coordinated living of Southern Nevada, has that already gone through, in terms of the applicant seeking these funds, have they already gone through the process of seeking the appropriate zoning for the project?
Kristen, you would answer that one.
Yes, Ms. Lori Murphy is here from CLSN. She has indicated that they have in fact gone through zoning at this point.
Oh, maybe you want to come down and address it. How about that? How about that?
Good morning. My name is Lori Murphy with Coordinated Living of Southern Nevada. And yes, in answer to your question, I believe we're in process. I know we've had the initial neighborhood meeting, and I'm not sure when the town board meeting is, but we're in process.
Is this Ovation?
Yes, it's
okay.
Ovation.
Just want to make
yes.
sure that I was not
Yes,
having 2 different projects at the same location. Okay.
Yes, no, it's
All right, that makes more
we're
sense to me.
co-developing with Ovation Development.
All right. Okay. Thanks. And then on the the Silver State Housing Inc. That is the same project that Nevada Hand is building at that location.
Yes,
they are used as the contractor for the existing facility.
So no, so Nevada Hand developed phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay.
And Silver State Housing is developing phase 3 in partnership with Nevada Hand.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? I'm going to turn it back over to Commissioner Weekly for a motion.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. Okay, we will accept CDAC's recommendation and approve the ESG allocations. Well, that's 73, right? They're the same?
Yes, thank you.
We'll accept CDAC's recommendation to approve the home lift allocations as indicated in Table 1, recommended projects of AIDA number 3636, and authorize staff to prepare and submit the applications per HUD and State of Nevada. This is my first time doing this with you, all right? Work with me today.
It's your birthday. I am working with you.
Thank you.
So Commissioner Weekly has made a motion to approve and accept the recommendations and have them move forward with the applications to the HUD and state. So any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
This one was ESG and this one was home. Oh. Yes, so that's why it's 72 and 73. I have my screen back. It's not back. Well, maybe if I click off this, huh? Yeah. Okay, I got it. I'm in.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Item 73 is to conduct a public hearing to review the project recommendations for the Community Development Advisory Committee and allocate Emergency Solutions Grant ESG program funds for incorporation into the fiscal year 2019 HUD Action Plan.
Good morning again.
Good morning again. Kristen Cooper, Clark County Social Service. CDAC again. Lois Green is here to present the recommendations from and to let you know a little bit about the process for the Emergency Solutions Grant funds.
Once again, good morning, Commissioners. Lois Green, 7713 Himalayas Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89128. The Emergency Services Grant recommendations are as follows, with a brief comment from the CDAC committee thanking the staff who supports not only CDAC but so many other things. We want to just say that the staff not only is efficient but effective, and this would be a lost cause without them. So we're really appreciative of their continual support. At this time, there were 13 funding requests submitted for approximately $1,116,261. Please note, Catholic Charities of Southern Nevada withdrew their application to provide rapid rehousing services prior to presentations and deliberation. Organizations seeking funds made presentations to the CDAC on 2/5/2019. CDAC met on March 5th, 2019 to make ESG recommendations. CDAC recommendations are listed in Table 1 in the ADER. Recommended funding category breakdown. Emergency shelter, $369,553. Rapid rehousing, $188,145. HMIS, $12,000, and administration, $46,191. Therefore, the total ESG emergency services grant funds recommended are $615,889. CDAC made recommendations based on the HUD award from the previous year. On April 12, 2019, Clark County received official notification from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development that our award was increased to $650,308. During the recommendation process, CDAC directed the staff to adjust the funding amounts based on the percentage of the award. That is our presentation. You have an attachment.
Thank you. That concludes your presentation. This is a public hearing. I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing at this time. Anybody wishing to speak on this?
Can I put somebody on the spot?
Yeah.
I'm going to put someone on the spot really quick. She's probably going to roll her eyes at me from the audience, but Falala, you know I was going to call you, right? Falala, I need you to come down, please, if you will. This phenomenal lady here, she's so amazing. A couple weeks ago, my students and I from UNLV, that's in the master's program in public administration, we did a spring fair over at Las Vegas Rescue Mission Center for about 250 homeless men, women, and children. And while there, I had an opportunity to sit at a table and dine with a group of homeless men, and met a gentleman there who had lost everything. And he didn't lose everything because he was on drugs or having any major issues. He just lost his job and couldn't pay rent and just didn't have the resources at all. So he resulted to the Las Vegas Rescue Mission Center, and thank you to Heather Engel and her team for being there and being angels on earth, helping this gentleman. So I called Falala up and I said, hey, I got a guy here, man. He applied for some assistance, and if I tell you, this lady here, she stopped what she was doing, and she and her team got right on it. And as of last Thursday, he got his own apartment. He has a job. And he got his dog back from the Las Vegas Rescue Mission Center. From our animal shelter. And I just want to thank you very much. And I just want you to share with the board just what funds like this mean to you as you all go out and you all help many of our citizens out there that need our help, and especially young people that you all take in that find themselves out on the streets as well.
Thank you. Falala Riley, Help of Southern Nevada, insert eye roll. Happy birthday, Commissioner. So this particular funding source is important because there's two segments: the rapid rehousing, which helped that particular gentleman get situated back into a housing unit. He has a job and is on his way back to being a productive member of society. So rapid rehousing dollars are key to assist individuals like that. And then, of course, the emergency shelter part is where many of us shelter providers, for us, it's Shannon West Homeless Youth Center, we're able to provide the basic needs for individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And so these are key, and we thank the committee for all their time going through all the presentations and the grilling of those of us that present. Yes. We appreciate that. Makes us stronger providers. So thank you very much. And those are the kinds of funds that support our operations as well as our mission.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. I just want the public to see that it works and that it really does make a difference in the lives of many of our citizens out here that we are serving. And I just want to thank you and a number of the other partners that are listed here who are on here. You guys do an amazing job. And I appreciate the fact that when you see my number show up on your phone, you don't send me straight to voicemail. You answer and you help out. So thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing for Commissioner Week to call on for public comment? Okay, go ahead. Come on down.
My name is Michelle West, and I'm with the Gregory Development Group. I just wanted to publicly thank CDAC and yourselves. I didn't jump at the chance on the previous agenda item to come forward, but I just wanted to thank you. I personally manage the 39 unit that is up for rehab. It has been there since 1985, and my heart is with low-income housing and the people that reside in low-income housing. And this project desperately needs this help, and I greatly appreciate it. It is something that our community needs. Low-income housing sometimes has a stigma to it, but I firmly believe that it can be and will be quality housing for these individuals. So thank you for your time, and thank you, CDAC.
Thank you, and we appreciate those kind words. Okay, seeing anybody else on public comment, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment. Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Seeing none, I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Weekly.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank Randy Tarr for tutoring me on this. She tried to mix me up, Randy. I knew I had it together. I was listening to my tutor here. I want to accept CDAC's recommendation and to approve the ESG allocations as indicated and authorize staff to prepare and submit the application per HUD's deadline and requirement.
July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2021, and extend the same salary and benefit changes to any current and future non-union Park Police Officer 3 not covered by the CCPPA collective bargaining agreement. I have Sandy Gentet here who will provide a brief overview of the tentative agreement.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Sandy Gentet, Director of Human Resources. The item before you is a 2-year contract effective July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021. The fiscal impact summary, which is included in attachment 4 of your backup materials, documents a fiscal impact of $43,917. That's for year 1 of the agreement for a 2.25% increase. The contract does provide for a fiscal reopener in year 2 of the agreement. Also, it includes an option for either party to open up the association rights article of the agreement. And finally, there were 3 articles amended in this negotiation process, and there are 18 impacted positions. I respectfully request your approval of this collective bargaining agreement.
Thank you. Sandy, does that complete your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, this is a public hearing. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the board. Anybody have any comments or questions? Anybody want to make a motion for approval? I have a motion by Commissioner Jones for approval. Seeing no further discussion, please cast your vote. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 75 is to conduct a public hearing and approve, adopt, and authorize the chair to sign a resolution to augment the fiscal year 2019 general fund budget.
Okay. Do we have?
There's no presentation.
No presentation?
Well, actually, Jessica can provide a brief overview.
So let me first thank our park police for coming today, and please tell them we appreciate all the work that they do and for the county. Okay, Ms. Colvin.
The public hearing and approve, adopt, and authorize the chair to sign a resolution to augment the fiscal year 2019 medical assistance to indigent persons funds 2380. Jessica.
Commissioners, the augmentation equates to approximately $1.2 million. The augmentation is recommended for the use of for indigent care in fiscal year 19.
Okay, anybody have any comments or questions? I'd entertain a motion. This is a public hearing. I got to open up the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comments and entertain. I have a motion by Commissioner Knapp to approve item number 76. No further discussion. Please cast your vote. Motion passes.
Okay, Commissioners, we can now move back to the business section of your agenda. Please note that item number 81 has been deleted from your agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, item 81. We are actually on item number 83, which is to receive a presentation from the Nevada Department of Transportation regarding the new highway occupancy vehicle HOV system and the active traffic management ATM signs on the freeway.
Okay, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Good morning, Board of Commissioners. My name is Jeff LaRude. I'm a project manager at the Department of Transportation, and I'm here today to talk to you about our high occupancy vehicle lanes, HOV lanes, carpool lanes, and active traffic management at the end of completion of Project Neon. So as Project Neon comes to completion, we're expecting some big changes along the interstates of 95 and I-15. Beginning in mid-May, there will be an alter to daily commutes for all residents from Henderson to Summerlin, from Inspirata to Centennial Hills, and plus all the millions of people that play on the Las Vegas Strip in the downtown area. The department is currently in the process of in an aggressive outreach to communicate the upgrades to the high occupancy vehicle lanes, that's a lot of words, or syllables, and introduce the active traffic management. So NDOT's not alone in this endeavor. We're partnering with the Department of Motor Vehicles, who will be updating their driver handbook to incorporate the rules and regulations of the new system. And we're also cooperating with the Department of Public Safety to ensure that these new facilities are enforced properly to promote safe travel. In fact, with me today from the NHP is Lieutenant Chris Dreyer, and he'll be around later if there are any enforcement questions that should come up. So first I'll discuss the enhancements to the HOV system, and then I'll provide an overview of the active traffic. So NDOT developed the initial Southern Nevada HOV plan in 2007. Since then we have had 2 updates to the plan. Shortly after 2007 we opened up our first HOV lanes on US 95 from MLK to the Rainbow Curve. The plan, during the updates, we've done extensive outreach to public stakeholders, agencies, and attending public meetings to solicit feedback to make this system look and feel how it is going to be today. So if you look at this schematic right here, we have, I'm sorry, I missed my spot here. Oh, I'm sorry. So as part of Project Neon, we currently have 2 express lanes on I-15. We're going to convert one of those express lanes to an HOV lane, and the other lane is going to revert back to a general purpose lane. Once that is completed, we're going to connect the US 95 HOV lanes through the spaghetti bowl with a direct connector to I-15. Once that is connected, we'll have 22 miles of continuous HOV lane. One of the reasons that maybe a misperception of the HOV lane as far as use is concerned is we haven't had that continuous length of HOV lane. So once we have these 22 miles in place, we should see a lot better operations. HOV, if you look right here just south of Charleston Boulevard, HOV users will also have access to the Neon Gateway interchange. And what that does is it allows for entering and exiting traffic from the HOV lanes directly down to the arterial, so then the traffic can disperse to the east and to the west, downtown or to the west. Also, on the top of the page near Elkhorn Road, you can also see the little green with stars. In mid-June, we're going to have direct access ramps coming from the HOV lanes to Elkhorn Road to serve the Centennial Hills Park and Ride. So that'll be a really good benefit to carpool users. Another change that you're going to see on the screen is if you notice there are orange and yellow bands across I-15 and US 95. What we're going to have when Project NEA is completed is a limited access facility. These locations of the yellow and the orange are access points to enter and exit, bless you, enter and exit the HOV lanes northbound and southbound. So they're going to be limited throughout the limits of the HOV. So this slide depicts the HOV rules. Essentially, the HOV rules are going to be the same as they are today with two exceptions. One exception, like I just talked about, is the limited access. So you're only going to be able to access the HOV lanes at certain openings in the freeway system to get in and out of the HOV lanes. Another important thing to note is that these are going to be operated 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So with that said, enforcement is going to be a key. So we've reached out to our partner, the NHP, and they support the HOV system being operated 24 hours a day because it's a lot easier to enforce. There's no, should they be in the HOV lane, should they not be in the HOV lane? It'll be crystal clear to everybody. And another reason that we're doing 24/7 is the trip demands in Las Vegas are very unique. We're a 24/7 town. There's events, special events, shift changes, things like that, so the HOV lanes will still be utilized even in what we consider off-peak hours. I alluded to the consistent enforcement. It'll be a lot easier to enforce with these 24/7 hours. And then it's consistent with neighboring states. Los Angeles, San Diego, and Salt Lake City all have 24/7 managed lanes. Other than that, the rules are pretty much the same, but I'd like to touch on a couple of them. Of course, it's 2+ occupants. Even if you're in an electric car, our current rules are you have to have 2 people in the car. So at this time, electric cars are not allowed in as a single occupant. Motorcycles are allowed. RTC buses are allowed. Even deadheading buses are allowed. And then emergency vehicles are allowed as well. I already pointed out that electric cars are not allowed unless there's 2 occupants. Trucks with 2 or more axles are not allowed. And though we really love our pets, they don't count as a passenger, so we still have to have 2 people in the car. So some of the HOV benefits for users. For an HOV user, it really promotes a reliable trip. If I know I can get in that HOV lane with another person in my car and get to work 15 minutes every day, 15 to 20, it sure beats getting in the general purpose lane and maybe taking 15 minutes, maybe taking an hour and a half. So that's a really big benefit to somebody that gets into the HOV lane. And it also saves money. With less cars on the general purpose lane and more cars in the HOV lane, more people in the HOV, excuse me, that'll save money with reduced fuel and vehicle costs. As far as overall benefits to NDOT and the public, the HOV lane can serve more people in less cars. If you have a bus with 25 people on it, obviously that can take 25 cars out of the general purpose lanes. And it's a better use of our infrastructure, move more people and less vehicles. And with less vehicles on the road, of course, we improve our air quality. So that's pretty much the HOV in a nutshell. I'm going to talk about active traffic management and then we'll answer any questions. So this is what the active traffic management system will look like. Active traffic management, you also hear ATM system. What is an ATM system? It provides the ability to dynamically manage congestion based on prevailing and predicted traffic conditions. This is what it'll look like. The Project Neon ATM system will feature 42 full-color, high-resolution dynamic message signs over the freeways, spaced approximately a half mile, that will provide real-time information to motorists about incidents and traffic restrictions. The system will be controlled by the RTC and FAST at the command center. So if you guys drive up and down I-15, you see the big gantries over I-15 right now, and that's the system being installed. One thing I'd like to point out is, although the HOV lanes are going to be coming on excuse me, in mid-May, once all the striping and everything is in its configuration, kind of the final configuration, that's when the integration of the active traffic management will begin. So it's about a 90-day burn-in period once the lanes are all established. So although you'll be able to see messages and things happening on those signs, they won't be fully functional for about another 3 months. So we're looking like August or September before they're fully operational. But we'll be blasting the public with information, and it'll be out in the newspapers and stuff too, so you'll be aware of it. But I just want to get that out there because I don't want you guys to think that we're done and it's not working the way we are expecting yet. So just real quick on this slide that we're looking at right here, as you look downstream, there's 3 red X's across where there's a crash. And so what happens in active traffic management, we begin to alert the motorists somewhere upstream, a couple miles upstream if we can, that there's a crash downstream, and we start reducing the speed limit. We start merging the traffic around the incident. And one of the unique things about this system is we'll actually be able to turn off the HOV lane to allow general cars into that lane around accidents. So that's just another tool that FAST will have in their toolbox to manage the traffic. Finally, one of the last unique things about this system is we can, they call it speed harmonization. So if we know 1 or 2 miles downstream that the traffic is driving about 45 miles an hour and you're coming from an uncongested section going 70 miles an hour, rather than just running right into the end of that queue, we can start telling you ahead of time, hey, it's 45 miles down there, so you can start slowing down. So as the traffic moves through, it moves through a lot smoother rather than that accordion effect of stop and go traffic. So that's active traffic management. With that, that completes my presentation if there are any questions.
Thank you. I thought you would be bringing, hats and whistles because it's been a long time coming to getting Project Neon this far along. So you guys have done a good job and the contractor's done a good job. So kudos to you guys. Let me start with Commissioner Naft and then Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I understand the HOV, the difference between HOV and the express lane that we currently have, but I'm curious, about 2 years ago, I sat down and got a briefing on Project Neon generally, and I asked, with the express lane that we currently have, I asked about enforcement, and I was basically told there is no enforcement because of all these changes, which I think is accurate, that I drive that road every day and people go in and out of that solid lane. So I'm curious, and maybe gentlemen from Highway Patrol can address this as well, how we're going to, I think the system only works with enforcement of that HOV lane. If you could speak a little bit to that. Thank you.
Chris Dreyer with the Nevada Highway Patrol. So the problem with the express lanes that you were talking about before is that, and this has been fixed with the HOV changes that we made in conjunction with NDOT, is that it's difficult to enforce, right? So there's no designated ins and outs. So people jumping in and out of the lane is previously, right? With the express lanes, jumping in and out of the lane is allowed, right? And again, it just wasn't on our radar because, again, when we look at enforcing certain things, we have to look at the reasons why we're enforcing it. We're not just going to write a ticket for, haphazard things. So it really was, for lack of a better word, kind of low on our radar. But with the changes we made with NDOT being a 24/7 system, being that they're designated ins and outs, it's going to be a lot easier for us to enforce it, right? So again, with enforcement, like with everything else, usually with a lot of major changes we see on the freeways, we do have a grace period. I'm not going to say it's a set period of time because it's not, but we understand for the first 30, 60 days, we're going to be educating along with the campaign that NDOT's going to be using and along with our public information system. There are going to be a lot of warnings and educating the public on the rules of the HOV lanes. And then we start to really try to enforce those, the rules specifically for that. So I guess in general, to answer your question, we just didn't have a lot of guidance as far as what was allowed and what wasn't allowed. Time frames were always off. You know, if I had one of, excuse me, one of my troopers driving by, he had to remember that it was between 7:30 and 2:30, and it's difficult to do. That's why some of these changes are going to be beneficial to us for enforcement of those rules. So,
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When is the project set to be completed or substantially completed?
It should be substantially completed actually in that mid-May timeframe. So that's when the HOV lanes will be restriped. But one of the things they have to do after that is they have to come through and put in the finishing course, and they can't do that until they have 85 degrees and rising during the night. So we're looking at maybe June timeframe till that happens. So if they get out there in June, we could have it all restriped, all paved, probably by the end of summer. And then that'll coincide with the activation of the ATM system as well.
So the expectation will be open to traffic mid-May, but they'll come back and redo the paving.
Yeah, they'll come back and redo the surfacing. Some of the pavement that's further south of Neon, when they were putting in the gantries, they kind of scuff up the pavement and stuff. So they're coming through and they're putting in a new surface on top of it to clean it up, and then they'll restripe that.
And when are they doing the testing for the active traffic management system?
In mid-May, once the HOV lanes are in their final temporary condition before the final striping, the striping will be in its final configuration. They'll begin the testing then, their standalone or their system acceptance testing.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? Commissioner Weekly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I heard the presentation over at the LVCBA board meeting, and you guys did a great job. I asked a question then, at that meeting about future big truck lanes. And if you can share, maybe I know the lady, I can't remember her name offhand, who did the presentation, but she said it was something that you all would possibly consider or even think about because you hadn't really thought about that. A dedicated lane for big trucks only. And I asked that question specifically because when we look at the signage that we're talking about, just kind of for those of us who are directionally challenged sometimes and we're rolling off of our GPS, trying to go off of our GPS, trying to merge over into another lane to get off the exit, if you will, and having to compete with many of the big trucks that are on the roads as well could be pretty frustrating at times. If you could address that for me, please, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Thanks.
So that presentation was given by our director, Christina Swallow. And she did a much better job than me. You got the B
she
team
did.
Today,
She had
guys.
a lot more energy than you. I did want to say that.
Maybe the C team. But anyway, I'll try to address it the way she did.
Okay.
We have studies going on for future I-11 alignment. There's potential to go out to the east. Don't know if that's going to be the final alternative or not. But one of the things that she pointed out is, to have the trucks have their own lane, they pay the same taxes as all the other users, but they impact the freeways a lot more aggressively than the trucks. And I actually was on the phone talking to a truck driver. It was early last week, and wealth of knowledge, very intelligent man. And what he does and what they typically try to do is they try to come through Las Vegas during the non-peak times and try to avoid the traffic as best they can. So that's one of the things that, as far as getting all our traffic information disseminated properly. But it didn't sound like there was really anything new at the moment on the table that we were looking into, but it's definitely something that we'll consider.
Sure. And just for clarification, while he's here with us, so if I'm running behind trying to get Blaze Weekly to the groomer, and I happen to hop over into the HOV lane, this guy there will give me a $250 fine.
Possibly.
Yeah, he looks like it too. Okay, all right, thank you.
That's the goal.
Just wanted a clarification on that. Thank you, sir.
If you're going to do it within the first 30 days.
Don't incentivize. Okay, any other questions? So will you be leaving this PowerPoint with us so we could kind of put it in our newsletters, get ready, this is coming?
Yes.
Because then we could start putting some of that education. I know that the county, we struggle educating people on roundabouts. So if it's anything like the roundabout education, we better start now. But I would say that I do agree, and I hope that the I-11 conversation talks about making it easier for the trucks because they don't want to be in the center of town, and a rest stop because we struggle with trucks parking anywhere and everywhere now because as a whole, the new guidelines, they have to get off the road. So anything we can do to make their life a little bit easier, as well as ours, always works together. But if you can give us a copy of that, I know I can start putting it out, and we can put it on our website to even educate folks on what an HOV is. Can I ask one question, though? So usually I'm doing, when I'm driving, I'm not paying attention to the marking on the roadway. So let me give you an intersection in particular. So at Craig Road and 95, so you get in the turn lane to get onto the freeway, and I always find myself in the wrong turn lane because I did not realize that the left one is an HOV access point to the freeway because there's no signage anywhere but until you turn that corner, and then you're like, now, and I will tell myself, I'm like, oh well, I'm here now. I'm not going to try and merge over, hold up traffic. So will there be some better signage for the off ramps and the on ramps on where that HOV position starts?
I'll take that back because that's a really good point. We should have signing there that clearly allows you to know where you're turning into. So I'll definitely bring that back. US 95 and Craig Road. Okay.
And I'm just saying because I would pay my $250 ticket, but I would not go quietly because there would have to be because once you're already there, I could create drama and get over because if it meant saving $250, but it's helpful if people know. And the same is with Summerlin, right? If you're on the Summerlin, you're headed that way, you don't realize that, it says Summerlin real big and pretty on the left, but you don't realize that if you keep going that you can get on Summerlin without the HOV lane. So there's just, for a person that used to drive 600 miles a week, I could tell you every place where we could always do better to move traffic. But I'm hoping that we can share this with our tourists because sometimes they're trying to figure out where to go as well. But we got to educate ourselves on how to navigate. So, but I'm glad that Project Neon, it seems, I remember when we said this 5 years ago across the street that it's coming, and here we are. So kudos to getting it done early. So
thank you.
And good luck to Highway Patrol because your work is cut out for you. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we can go to item number 84, which is to receive a report from the Clark County School District regarding the reorganization.
Okay, good morning. So I haven't seen you before, so I'm going to help you out early on how this works. Okay. We just want to talk about the reorganization component so that, because there are some hiccups still, and you guys are still trying to navigate through. So for the board, this is specific to the reorganization, and we'll let you get through the presentation, and then we'll ask some questions.
Okay. Well, good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to present the update on the reorganization. I'm Sam Scavella, one of the school associate superintendents and Region 2. So for the reorganization, I'm going to forward the slides till I get to the reorganization.
See, I told you I was going to help you out.
Okay. So student success is always at the center of our work. In order to improve student achievement, we must develop and implement systems and structures that align with the curriculum assessment and instruction. Our curriculum, the Nevada Academic Content Standards, serves as our foundation for student learning. I'm going to put on my second set of eyes here. So the Nevada Educator Performance Framework is the blueprint for delivering high-quality standards-based instruction and is the formative and summative assessments inform and guide our work and student learning We are developing a learning organization, which is imperative that we create positive climate and culture and work as a continuous school improvement organization. We must have structures, systems, and processes that align teaching and learning to build the capacity of all of our educators with high quality professional learning to improve student outcomes. So this is the work that already has begun in regards to our learning organization. So our first step in the reorganization is that the district has been reorganized into 3 geographically configured regions based on school feeder alignments. Each region is comprised of a region superintendent, 2 associate superintendents, as well as a support team to directly serve schools within that region. So we have the College Career Equity and School Choice Unit. This unit consists of Adult Education, Career Technical Education, Educational Services Division, Equality and Diversity Education, Grants Development and Administration, Guidance and Counseling, Magnet Schools, and School Choice. These departments and programs within the college and career will support our schools and our teaching and learning. We also have the Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment Unit. This is comprised of our Assessment and Accountability and Research and School Improvement Division, Curriculum and Professional Development Division, English Language Learners Division, and School and Student Services Division. So this is, if you can see that, this is how our region support team will look. In order to support teaching and learning and our entire learning organization, services and supports of these departments and divisions will reside within the region. Based on the student achievement data and school needs, region leadership will work alongside school leadership and educators within these central services to build capacity within our learning environment. By physically relocating the personnel within these departments into the regions, we will promote the alignment of our schools, and we will be able to achieve our goals within the district's Strategic Focus 2024 plan. As we collaboratively work as a team to support barriers, to provide direct supports to schools, this will ultimately work as a benefit for us to be able to work as one team so that we can make children CCSD #1 for children. So basically that is the reorganization of the district, and that will end my presentation, and I'll open it up for questions.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions? I have one.
Okay.
So since the reorganization, I'm getting tons of complaints from my rural schools that their special ed services have been something that's been cut. So I know that the principal has discretionary, but he only has discretionary with dollars.
Right.
But it seems to me, and I voice my concern, I don't agree with cutting the truancy program either, because that's a problem for us on the back end. But how is it that I thought that the special ed was the guaranteed components, that the rural schools are not getting this adequate services for those clients?
Yeah, so special ed services is provided based on the program that educates the students that have tested as that have a disability. So those services are guided from our student services unit, and those are provided from the state, that those dollars. So they should be guaranteed. So I will definitely take that back to identify some schools that are losing funding, because they should not be losing funding.
In particular, the rural schools. So in the past, right, we made sure that they had adequate services. But if I have a student that receives blind services in Mesquite, and you tell me that you can only go out there once a month, that's not the way it used to be. So it needs to go back, right?
Absolutely.
Because those kids in particular, if they're in the rural areas, we need to make sure that they can get the same service, which we know that special ed, that's one of the arguments that we brought up, right? When you start reorganizing stuff, special ed's very expensive, especially in the rural areas, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't get services.
Absolutely. And this reorganization would help us quite a bit with that as well, because the services that usually are in the central office will be out in the area offices, so that they can have access to the schools, or the schools can have access to those services.
Okay, does anybody, Commissioner Jones?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for presentation. I was at an event last night that was hosted by Trustee Ford and sat on a panel with the principals of Sierra Vista and Fest Middle School. One of the things that the principal of Sierra Vista brought up was the issue of busing and the fact that the bus drivers are only given 6 hours a day, and that creates problems. His solution was to use some of the monies that he's allocated under the reorganization, which gives him more flexibility, to hopefully pay the bus drivers to stay on site for additional 2 hours. He and others are trying to find creative solutions there, but the busing is something that's still centralized. So I would just encourage you to try and, as you are delegating some responsibility to the different regions and the schools, that busing piece of it, which is still centralized, there's going to have to be some interplay there to allow for those principals that want more flexibility on the busing side to be able to do that. So.
Okay, absolutely. I'll definitely take that back. I know that we also are entertaining a modeling the transportation cards for some students to address that process too. So I'll definitely take that back.
Okay, Commissioner Weekly.
How long you been with the district?
Roughly about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Man, who did that to you? Because we need to make some calls on your behalf.
So thing number one, let me get you together.
Okay.
Repeat after me. Nevada.
Nevada.
There you go.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. That way, as you're going around doing presentations, folks won't tune you out, all right? So get that part together. And then secondly,
excuse me.
The school district sent you here to do a presentation for us, and I'm not sure should it had been Dr. Jara or one of the school board trustees. I know we're inheriting something that a lot of us did not support. Okay. But at any rate, you all are trying to make the best of it as you possibly can. For me, when we look at the schools that are in my district, I said day one, when a lot of the community meetings were being held, when this was being proposed, that I was so afraid that the whole cookie cutter process of it definitely was not going to work for schools like mine. And for schools like mine that are continuing to suffer. We have schools, when we talk about, and you started out your presentation talking about a positive climate and culture.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, a lot of my schools aren't experiencing that because I have, number one, some of the schools that have principals that are being moved out, and then I have principals that are coming in, number one, that don't want to be at many of those schools. And then we have situations where we have very low resources, so I'm not really sure how these kids are to have this positive culture of learning and this climate of learning. It's just really difficult. And I had Dr. Jara on my radio show a couple Saturdays ago, and we talked about a number of these things, and a number of parents throughout District D were calling into the radio show to talk with him about just not only that, but just kind of a number of things you all are experiencing. As you're moving forward, and you've only been here a couple weeks, and so I don't know if a lot of my questions are appropriate for you. I will probably need to take it up with the trustee, but there's a lot of work to be done. We even talk about the busing situation. That's become a nightmare. I know that you all just recently had a career fair.
Yes.
recruiting potential bus drivers to help out a lot of these kids who are standing on the corner, late for school. Not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, but like 45 minutes to an hour, late for school. And so it's extremely frustrating for a lot of these kids that live in the urban core, that have to deal with some of these things that some of my colleagues that represent schools in some of the other areas, their students don't deal with some of these same issues. And so a lot of my